Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Look at that, Patty. Beautiful form. Welcome to DBL. It's Monday, April 19th. I'm Tori here with my good friends Brendan and Erica. I don't know why I said it like that.
I don't know either.
I thought we would get started on that. We do want to just talk to you guys today. We just want to have a conversation because there was a terrible amount of gun violence over the weekend, and we want to discuss it. So first, in Austin, Texas, police have taken one man into custody this morning. He's actually a former sheriff's deputy. He was suspected of killing 3 people in a shooting rampage there yesterday, and that was just one of the many incidents over the weekend. So our hearts are going out to the other victims, including the 3 people shot and others wounded at a Wisconsin tavern, another woman in Ohio that was killed at a vigil, and in Chicago, a 7-year-old girl was killed and her father seriously injured at a McDonald's. We're also learning more about the 19-year-old man who killed 8 people at a FedEx facility last week. We're not going to show you his picture. That is a DBL policy. Of course, for mass shooters, authorities say he legally purchased the 2 assault rifles used in the attack in July and September of last year. That is despite the fact that his family reported him to the authorities for potential violence in March, and he had a rifle taken from him at that time. Now, this has led many people to question the background checks, the red flag laws that are supposed to prevent firearm sales to people who could be dangerous to themselves or others. What a weekend. Let's just chat right now about how y'all are feeling about what went on. Are you numb? Are you angry? Are you pushing forward and marching towards making things happen? Erica, how are you feeling?
Well, I think we have to decide what conversation we want to have. You know, are we going to have the conversation about gun reform and how accessible and talking about common sense gun control? Or are we going to have the mental health component of the conversation? Or are we going to talk about the actual effects of everything that's happened in the past year and some change, and how people have completely been locked down, secluded, and all of the issues that we had before are simply being compounded.
Yeah.
So which conversation?
All three.
Well, you know what? Let's just continue to take the lazy route. Let's just do, instead of even having those conversations that we refuse to really have, Erica, let's just do the whole thoughts and prayers thing. Because it seems like an entire cycle as it is. I mean, if you think about as we continue to roll out this vaccine and people are getting back to somewhat of a normal life, I kind of miss being outraged on us talking about someone coughing on someone in a Target, let alone coming out and someone coming out and opening fire with a semi-automatic weapon in a Target. So, I mean, I guess, you know, might as well just continue to take the lazy way out, Erica, and just do the thoughts and prayers, because nothing is working.
I think we all, I would say, talk about it a lot. I think we talk endlessly about common sense gun reform. 90% of you, all of you Republicans, Democrats, want background checks. That's almost unheard of as a bipartisanship, right? And the fact that we haven't done anything is, I think, that frustrating part. We can talk until our heads turn blue. Nothing's being done. I will bring up the fact that 26 years ago today was the Oklahoma City bombing, where we lost 168 Americans, 19 children, another domestic terrorist. We are dealing with this 26 years later. So it's a conversation I hope everyone's having. I know you're all tired of it, and I hope you'll write me in and let me know what you think. But I'm not willing to stop talking about it until actions take place.
Well, that's the thing. There needs to be action behind it. But the thing is, as I always talk about distractions, right?
Yeah.
It's not that it's one thing is more important than the other when we're having these conversations. Our vaccines and the idea that we need to know what's happening, you know, long term, we need to know what the CDC is saying. What should we expect from vaccines? Very important conversation.
Sure.
Yeah.
But when we have multiple, over 20, are we at almost 30 or something in the past week?
45 in the past month, I know.
Okay, so 45 in the past month, ranging all over this country. Big cities, small towns, mass shootings, gun violence, and people want to stop down because Johnson & Johnson had to pause the vaccine. I understand these are two very important conversations, but what are we seeing as the imminent threat here?
Right.
And I think sometimes we forget to triage what is happening in the world.
Totally. Triage is the right word. Where is the pain the most? Where can we be the most helpful? But let me know what you guys think about gun control, what you're feeling about the trauma that we're all feeling throughout America. Because it's baseball, apple pie, and mass shootings. That's what I see as America, which
This is America.
Don't want to see anymore. All right, everyone tweeted about to us this morning. Did you all see the warning for the popular Peloton treadmill? Well, federal safety regulators put out a very stern warning for parents and small pet owners, saying to immediately stop using them after one child died and others were injured. They released video of one of the incidents, and I really want to warn you, it's disturbing, so please look away if you don't feel comfortable. Now, the video shows a young child getting pulled underneath the treadmill, here we are, while it was on. Yeah, that's going to take your breath away. In this situation, please know the child was absolutely okay. They got out from underneath it. Another video shows an exercise ball getting pulled. Look at that. It's flattened while someone was on it running. Imagine that's a child. Look at this. Flat. Peloton has responded, though, calling the warning from the Safety Commission inaccurate and misleading. They say their product is safe as long as children and pets are kept away from it at all times. Peloton users, thoughts?
Well, I have a Peloton. I don't have a treadmill. I have a bike. It's very jarring to see something like that. Obviously, you want to make sure that children and pets are safe. But the truth is, your child and your pet shouldn't be around your workout equipment anyway.
Responsibility.
I do have a treadmill. My dog comes down sometimes when I'm working out, and I'm always very aware of where he is, and make sure that he doesn't come over by me, because it is a moving object. So I do think it is actually right to say you shouldn't have your children and pets around your workout equipment.
Yeah, I'm glad that I thought we were going to have to disagree on this one, Erica. So I'm glad, because this is very misleading for Peloton. You know, like the way that it's coming out saying that, oh, it's deemed dangerous for kids and pets. When you're not using this machine, unlock it. Remember when we were kids and before our grandparents had anything as cool as Pelotons, their regular treadmills? It was a monkey bar to us, you know, it was a swing set to us. But anytime my grandparents or someone would be like, hey, don't go over, do not touch that. And they look at you with the big mama eyes. You don't touch it. Like, I just think we use this as more as an educational thing than trying to cancel Peloton.
And I agree with you guys. If it's a hot stove, it's a hot stove. You got to be careful and have some responsibility, right? At the same time, like seeing those videos, some treadmills have electric features that shut off immediately. They could at least, I feel like they doubled down on that it's safe. I just wish they had said, this is real. One child has died. We take this very seriously. Instead, they're like, this is misleading. I just wish they had just been a little bit more clear. But I get that it's a hot stove and you got to take responsibility when it's your child and your pet. I get that.
Yeah.
I just think for my little sister, when we were at some hotel staying as a family, my cousin was on the treadmill. My sister came up behind her, and she was like 5 years old, and she skid, you know, and she still has that on her arm.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
And there's a reason why you just have to be a little bit more vigilant when small children are around. And I'm not saying that to blame or put any, you know, it's an unfortunate tragedy, but I think that we do need to use, like, you know, exercise some precautions, because when my grandchildren, when my nieces and nephews,
happy Monday, Erica.
when my nieces and nephews are at her house, she covers all of the equipment.
Wow.
Yes, yeah.
That's what you do. That's what you do. All right, we do have to give a big DBL shout out to NASA for pulling off the first ever flight on another planet. This little helicopter named Ingenuity successfully took off earlier today. This video was taken by the Curiosity rover. Another picture from the helicopter shows its shadow on the planet. Folks at NASA, I love these. They clapped. I love when they do these. They celebrated the historic first flight. Quite an accomplishment from 179 million miles away. Do you know what's crazy? From the first flight ever of the Wright brothers to going to the moon was only 66 years. Cool. Good talk, guys. Coming up on DBL, Paris Hilton is on DBL for the first time. She's telling us how she's fighting for abused kids and revealing how she deals with stress. And the Queen and her family pay tribute to Prince Philip, what you might have missed at his funeral over the weekend. That's coming up next. Closing.
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying, does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are our sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law. And Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the first Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court, and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verify.
To DBL, Prince Philip was laid to rest on Saturday in an intimate ceremony, and our Stephanie Jones joins us with a look at how the royal family paid their respects. Stephanie?
The royal family showed a united front by celebrating the life of Prince Philip. Due to the ongoing pandemic, there were only 30 people inside St. George's Chapel, meaning that the service was limited to immediate family only. Prince Harry and Prince William walked together behind the Prince Philip's coffin as it made its way to the chapel, and the Queen wore a black face mask and rode to the service separately in a car with her lady-in-waiting. She was married to the Duke of Edinburgh for 73 years. Once inside the chapel, the Queen sat alone, likely as a precaution because of COVID restrictions. And then after the service, we saw Harry and William spotted chatting and walking together, along with William's wife, Kate, which could signal a sign of a reconciliation between the brothers. Harry and William reportedly spent hours talking with each other behind closed doors after the funeral as well. And as for Meghan, we know that she stayed behind in California due to her pregnancy, but she reportedly sent a wreath of flowers and a handwritten note for the late prince. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. It was quite a scene when I was watching it. Seeing the Queen alone in black, sitting alone, was just a visual I don't think we'll ever forget. Coming up on DBL, Paris Hilton is here for the first time and getting real about her struggles and how she's using her popularity for a good cause. Do not go away.
If you're eligible for Medicare, then this segment is for you. You may qualify.
It seems like teens never get enough sleep, but the problem can be even bigger for children with ADHD. Now those sleep troubles have been linked to lower grades. Let's connect the dots. Research has shown that teenagers should get about 9 hours of sleep a night, but thanks to school and social demands, that doesn't always happen. The problem is even worse for teens with ADHD, who report lower quality sleep than their counterparts. In fact, doctors used to think sleep deprivation could be to blame for ADHD. Now a researcher at Cincinnati Children's Hospital has done a sleep study on students, half with ADHD, half without. 20% of the kids with ADHD got less than 7 hours of sleep on school nights. In the other group, that number was 10%. That lack of sleep was associated with lower test scores for both groups. So what can parents and teens do? Keep beds for sleep only. That helps train the brain to associate going to bed with going to sleep. Also keep a strict bedtime routine. That helps all teens, but especially kids with ADHD. The study's author even suggests teachers should keep an eye out for sleepy kids so they can alert parents there's a problem.
Welcome back to DBL. A lot has happened since Paris Hilton rose to fame in the early 2000s. She's now a DJ and a businesswoman, but she also fights for boarding school reform after sharing her own story of abuse she suffered as a teen. So how is Paris able to do it all? Well, she told us her secret earlier in today's Chatting with the Stars.
Joining us now is Paris Hilton. Thank you so much, Paris, for stopping by. Now, we can't wait to hear about your secret to stress relief. I think we could all use it right now amidst a pandemic. But first, speaking of stressful, as a fierce advocate for boarding school reform, what were you feeling last week when Utah passed a law that you championed, by the way? I'm so proud of you, for more oversight to prevent the abuse.
Thank you. It was one of the most empowering days of my life, just to know that everything that happened to me back when I was a teenager at the school would now be illegal today. So it was stressful as well, though, just having to get up on stage and do a whole speech in front of the governor and all the senators and everyone there. But I have just never been so proud of my life, and I've been working so hard to pass this bill. And next, we're going to be taking it to a federal level so that in all 50 states, it'll be illegal to abuse children the way they are.
Unbelievable, Paris.
Yeah, I know that you've heard from so many people who have been in your situation, but the amount of truth that you actually shared just liberated so many people, and I know they're very, very grateful for that. So with your podcast and documentary, you also reveal that the world underneath your picture-perfect life that we all saw, you actually struggled deeply while you were in the spotlight. So walk us through some of those struggles and how you ended up in a better place now.
It was very difficult to do in the beginning because I've always wanted to portray this, perfect fairy tale life. But in reality, I had been through so many traumatic experiences, and, so many things have happened to me that have been very painful and hurtful and have stressed me out. And it's been very hard, but I think it's important to talk about things, and doing the documentary was so healing. I've never felt better or been in a better place in my life, and I'm very happy.
So Paris, let's go back to you coming up again, right? Because you were pioneering social media, you were all over the tabloids. What do you think it would have been like coming up with social media the way it is today? Because it wasn't really prevalent back then.
I feel very lucky that I grew up before all this social media, because I just can't imagine the stress of being, a teenage girl and having to deal with the pressures of social media, with people, online trolls, and having to care about likes, and just, it's so much stress. So my heart really goes out to, all the young people who are dealing with that right now.
You just hit the nail on the head. There is a stigma, right? And we talk about mental health on this show all the time. I talk about the fact that I deal with anxiety, I deal with depression, I deal with stress. So tell me more about your supplement, because I really do believe that now more than ever, we need it.
Well, with Reset, I actually was a customer at first. I was on set shooting the billboards for my documentary, and I was so exhausted and so stressed out. And then the photographer, Brendan Forbes, told me about Reset, and he was like, try these supplements. And I took them, and then literally within an hour, I was feeling just less stressed. I was having focus. I was feeling just more alive and happy. And I loved the product so much that now I decided to be an investor.
Wow. Well, before we let you go, Paris, I just have to ask, because you have this podcast, and it's not just that you're being transparent with your testimony, but you're bringing other people on to do the same. And I call my podcast my therapy. That's a part of how I keep mentally well. So I'm curious, who is your dream guest for your podcast?
I think Madonna would be a lot of fun to interview.
Madonna would be gold.
Yes.
I can't believe she hasn't been on your podcast yet. Let's put that out to the universe.
I don't even know if she does podcasts, but that would be pretty cool.
If anybody can make it happen, you can make it happen. Let's get Madonna on your podcast. Thank you so much for joining us here in DBL. If you're like us and you cannot get enough of Paris, make sure to check out This Is Paris, her podcast and documentary series on YouTube. If you want to unwind like Paris too and de-stress, which we all deserve that self-care, head over to parisreset.com for more info. Their website is on your screen. DBL will be right back. Thank you, Paris.
Thank you. Bye.
Purple.
Verify is all about fact-checking the suspicious things you see online and answering your questions. Several viewers emailed the team about this one, including John Selhorn from Potomac Falls, Virginia. He wants us to verify, is it true that the COVID-19 vaccines are only effective for 6 months? We brought that question to our experts, our two favorite Williams, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases professor at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, and Dr. William Moss, the executive director of the International Vaccine Access Center at Johns Hopkins. So what's up with this 6-month stat? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. Our experts explain that that's roughly how long it's been since those very first patients got a dose.
The clock is ticking. We're measuring it. We can't tell you any longer than that because we've only used the vaccines for 6 months. So hold on. We all think that these vaccines last, given their protection, last longer than 6 months. But we'll tell you that as we continue to measure the duration of protection.
The other William agrees.
And that's why it's important, for example, that the phase 3 trial actually be allowed to continue, the initial phase 3 trial, the follow-up of those individuals out 2 or 3 years to look at the duration of protection. So I think whenever they say, like, you know, the duration of protections they'll say at least 3 months or at least 6 months, because basically that's just how much time we've had.
The CDC also says that at this point, they don't know how long protection lasts. So we could verify that no. Our experts say it's not that the COVID vaccines will only work for 6 months. What can be said is that they're effective for at least 6 months because that's the data we have. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Welcome back to DBL. We do want to take a moment to honor and remember Hester Ford. She was the oldest living American who died on Saturday at the age of 116. Hester leaves behind quite a legacy, including, ready for this, 2 children, 48 grandchildren. 12 children. I was like, how did that happen? 48 grandchildren, 108 great-grandchildren, and around 120 great-great-grandchildren. She was born in 1905 when Teddy Roosevelt was still president. She lived through 2 pandemics, 2 world wars, and countless historical events. She also lived in the same home in Charlotte for more than 58 years.
That's amazing. I love how we said approximately 120 like somebody was just like, you know what, it's at 120, whoever comes next, we're not even gonna count them.
We don't, 128.5, we don't know who that is. All right, ready for this? We got some comments. Kenneth says about gun violence, do y'all think gun violence stopped last year, or do you think the news didn't report it? We were kind of discussing this.
I think I do think that there is an element that it wasn't as reported, but I also think that there was a bigger element that it wasn't happening as much.
And I don't think people were in mass enough to have mass shootings. I think people, when they get together is when you have it. Janet from Facebook says gun violence will continue until both parties decide on action. Warren says, let's get back into lockdown. It was safer. I know what you mean. On the Peloton, a lot of people agreed with you guys. Nova says, thank God the child's okay. But my opinion is the parents not watching the kids unplug the machines, just what you said, Brandon. And Eloisa says, did you see pets and kids inside gyms? No. Come on, people. This is the fault of the user. 1000% use common sense.
Yeah, but the whole, not to play double both sides, but the whole reason why Peloton had the rise is because gyms were closed. So I understand why if you are a mom or a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad and you're working out, you just have to be mindful if the kids or the dogs are around. So I just don't like the wording that was used to make it look like we need to cancel Peloton.
I think it's also interesting because Peloton users will know that if you're going to do a ride and there's expletives in the music, they will tell you if the kids are around. Every instructor says this. So it's very much like meant to have the average like parent in mind, because I'm always like, nobody's around, just go ahead with it. Drop some bombs.
Let's do it. I really want to do Peloton and be like, I want them to be like, hey, Tori, keep going. But,
well, you have to be in the class while it's live.
While it's live.
And I have my favorites, so I'll let you know. I have a few favorites.
You have a few favorites?
Tunde, Alex, Robin. My mom and I always ride with
Robin. There you go. All right. Goodbye to our coworkers at home today. We'll be together soon. DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow.
On Daily Blast Live.
A violent weekend with back-to-back shootings across the country as an investigation continues into the FedEx gunman. How was he able to legally buy assault rifles? Problems for Peloton with injuries adding up, why the company is fighting the safety warnings. A couple finds an abandoned baby in a subway station, changing their lives forever.
I didn't even realize what was happening. It was just like everything was spinning out of control in that moment.
And breaking barriers at the Academy of Country Music Awards.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, April 19th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Tori joins us from home. Let's get right to it because unfortunately we do have some pretty terrible news to report. As you know, there has been a great amount of gun violence over the weekend that we want to talk to you about. First in Austin, Texas, police have taken one man into custody this morning. He's a former sheriff's deputy. He was suspected of killing 3 people in a shooting rampage there yesterday. And that was just one of the many incidents over the weekend. Our hearts are going out to the other victims, including the 3 people shot and others wounded at a Wisconsin bar. Another woman in Ohio that was killed at a vigil. And in Chicago, a 7-year-old girl, was killed and her father seriously injured at a McDonald's. We're also learning more about the 19-year-old man who killed 8 people at a FedEx facility last week. We are not going to show you his picture, which is our policy for mass shooters. Authorities say he legally purchased the 2 assault rifles used in the attack in July and September of last year. That's despite the fact that his family reported him to the authorities for potential violence in March, and he had a rifle taken from him at the time. This has led many people to question the background checks and red flag laws that are supposed to prevent firearm sales to people who could be dangerous to not only themselves, but others. I'm already reading your comments. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
You know, we talked about this, unfortunately, on Friday, and I feel like we're going to continue to talk about this. But I read these numbers on Friday, but I want to make sure people know. A mass shooting is 4 or more people. Just that's the definition of it for whatever reason. 424 in 2019, 612 in 2020, and we're already at 147, probably up now because this was read on Friday. But how many deaths, how many shootings does it take for the government to step in and at least show us some sign? We have these red flag laws. They don't seem to be working. We shut down a whole country because of a certain amount of deaths. What is the number we put on gunshot victims to finally step in as a country and try to do something about this?
Well, I agree with you. Like, what is there a quantifiable point? And I really don't know if there is. I think that what a lot of times we have happen is that we never really triage situations as they come, you know, when we're talking about issues that affect us as a society. There was a meme that I saw over the weekend, and it was talking about you're really worried about Johnson & Johnson vaccine more than all of these in all different types of cities, all different populations, and all of them were mass shootings. And I think that we get so easily distracted. And I'm not saying that one isn't important, but I do think that if you go to an emergency room and they decide who needs to go first based on need, that means that it's an imminent situation. And I think that for some of these issues, we need to triage what is happening in this world.
Yeah, and Tori, we need to triage it together. Again, I know when we bring up gun violence, gun control, gun reform, all of a sudden there's 2 sides. There can't be 2 sides. As a parent, as a mother, I fear sending my child to school one day. I don't want to have that fear. I want my child to not have to live in a world where she doesn't have to go through those gun mass shooting drills in their school, right? So do you think there's a way, Tori, that we can still support the Second Amendment? I support the Second Amendment, but also have strict gun reform, which I also support?
Yes, and know that we've done it before. So when one person tried to blow up an airplane with their shoes, we all take our shoes off, right? In 1982, someone tried to poison Tylenol bottles. We now have safety caps. We know how to do things. We just have to get together on it. And the problem, Sam, that's really sad to me is that 90% of Americans agree with you, and that's Republicans and Democrats. That is unheard of for Americans to agree on background checks. Why they aren't being brought up as a bipartisan bill, this would be great for a young senator to bring up with someone across the aisle and say the red flag laws need to actually work. So it's a shame, but it's something the country can do. But right now we're baseball, American pie, and mass shootings. That's what we're known for.
Wow. That's
Other
hard
countries
to hear.
have figured it out.
What's that?
Other countries have figured this out, right?
Yes.
But
other countries don't have the history
absolutely.
other countries don't have the history that we do with guns, right?
Yeah.
So this is a different nuanced situation, but I believe that our country can figure it out. I believe in the minds of both Republicans and Democrats. Let's reach across the aisle. Let's think about our children, and let's stop politicizing everything, especially when it comes to all this gun violence. Come on, you guys, get it together. Okay, let's go on to the next story, shall we? Did you all see this warning for the popular Peloton treadmills? Federal safety regulators put out a stern warning for parents and small pet owners, saying to immediately stop using them after one child died and others were injured. They released video of one of the incidents where the kid is fine, and a warning to our viewers, it may be disturbing to see. The video shows a young child getting pulled underneath the treadmill while it was on. Oh my gosh. In this situation, the kid is okay. He got out from underneath it. Another video shows an exercise ball getting pulled underneath the treadmill while someone was on it running. Peloton has responded, calling the warning from the Safety Commission inaccurate and misleading. They say their product is safe to use as long as children and pets are kept away at all times. Erica.
Well, obviously that is very frightening to watch. You don't want to see a child or an animal be in harm's way. But I do think that we do need to act, and also a child lost their life. So I do not want to be insensitive to that. I do think that it is important to exercise a certain degree of care and precaution when you have any type of exercise equipment in your home. That is just something that people should be doing anyway, because would you allow your child to be around your weight rack and pull a 20-pound weight onto them? So I understand that this is something very serious, but I think that if you're going to have exercise equipment in your home, you need to exercise extra care and precaution.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a company's fault unless it's a manufacturing error or something like that. And I don't think that's the case here that we have with Peloton. I promise you more people got hurt with those exercise balls than all those equipment put together, because people do stupid things on there, for sure. But I have an elliptical in my basement that we just got, and my kids come down in the morning, they're 2 and 4, to say goodbye to me if they go to school. And I'm like, hold on, guys. And I get off because there's swinging parts moving. I get off and give them a hug and a kiss by the door. And I'm like, this is Daddy's room. Don't go in here, right? So you have to have caution. Why are you laughing?
I'm a child. I'm an absolute
Why? What did
child.
I do? What happened?
The balls.
No, Tori, it wasn't even that. It was swinging parts. Sorry. I'm an absolute kid, and Tori is a kid clearly
Monday morning?
as well. I know. I've been on vacation. My mind is completely just like...
Just about swinging parts? You must have had fun.
I did. We do have to
Give me some visuals of Mark.
Whoa, no. Okay, we do have to give a big DBL shout out to NASA for pulling off the first ever flight on another planet. The little helicopter named Ingenuity successfully took off earlier today. This video was taken by the Curiosity rover. Another picture from the helicopter shows its shadow on the red planet. Folks at NASA celebrated the historic first flight. Quite an accomplishment from 179 miles away, Tori.
This is incredible.
179
million miles away. One fact I can't get out of my head that I just think is so cool is that between the Wright brothers inventing flight in America and us going to the moon was only 66 years. And look at us now. We're flying on another planet.
Would any of you ever, because we talk, we know that there's technology that's going to soon, you can pay a certain amount of money and go to the moon or go to outer space. Would you want to do that? Never.
I don't know. I mean, I would like to say I did that, right? Yeah. What's cooler? What's cooler? I climb Mount Everest, or I walk in and be like, I went to the moon last year. That guy with the Everest has to leave the table.
Who cares about what you say? Do you want to actually do it?
No, well, I didn't want to jump out of an airplane, but I did it so I could say I did it. I'm never doing it again.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What about you, Erica?
No.
Never?
No.
Never.
Why? Sam, come on. I am I have to be in the epicenter of everything. You think I'm going to go to the moon? There ain't nothing up there.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't. What is there to do?
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is.
Would you go?
No, absolutely not. And let me tell you something, Jeff, the moon is not inside out. There isn't life on the inside of the moon. I just have to tell you that.
Maybe if we go there more, you could debunk that. But until then.
All right.
Looks dark.
Coming up on DBL, diversity takes center stage at the ACM Awards. We're talking about the new, more inclusive country music genre. Plus, Sharon Osbourne is holding nothing back when it comes to cancel culture. And the Queen and her family pay tribute to Prince Philip, what you might have missed at his funeral over the weekend. Next.
Closed captioning provided by...
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying, does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law, and Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the first Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court, and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verify.
Welcome back to DBL. Prince Philip was laid to rest on Saturday in an intimate ceremony. Our Stephanie Jones joins us with a look at how the royal family paid their respects. Steph?
The royal family showed a united front by celebrating the life of Prince Philip. Due to the ongoing pandemic, there were only 30 people inside St. George's Chapel, meaning that the service was limited to immediate family only. Prince Harry and Prince William walked together behind the Prince Philip's coffin as it made its way to the chapel, and the Queen wore a black face mask and rode to the service separately in a car with her lady-in-waiting. She was married to the Duke of Edinburgh for 73 years. Once inside the chapel, the Queen sat alone, likely as a precaution because of COVID restrictions. And then after the service, we saw Harry and William spotted chatting and walking together, along with William's wife, Kate, which could signal a sign of a reconciliation between the brothers. Harry and William reportedly spent hours talking with each other behind closed doors after the funeral as well. And as for Meghan, we know that she stayed behind in California due to her pregnancy, but she reportedly sent a wreath of flowers and a handwritten note for the late prince. Back to you.
Thank you, Steph. Wow, just looking at that footage, seeing Queen Elizabeth by herself, my heart breaks for her, even though Prince Philip led a very long life. But what did you think about seeing Prince Harry and Prince William somewhat, hopefully, reconciling?
I don't think that was a mistake that they just got caught on camera talking. I think that was definitely done as a signal. But I also think that, again, this story is so much more relatable to the average person than we're really letting on, because funerals can either bring you together or make you farther apart. So I'm happy to see this. I mean, siblings fight.
Yeah, it might bring them together. Tragedy, funerals, they bring people together. So I would like to be a fly on that wall and hear what they were talking about.
I know. What do you think they were talking about?
I don't know, but family, I could imagine.
I know. We can relate, all of us. Oh, Tori, I didn't know you were there.
Tori, you went to the royal wedding.
It's fine.
Tori, what do you think they were talking about at the pub 80 miles away from where that happened?
Oh my
That is
God.
so inside, Jeff. That is so inside. Nobody understands that.
Maybe we'll send you back there and figure it out.
Coming up on DBL.
All right, I'll see you later.
We are talking to two dads who found an abandoned baby in the New York subway and raised him as their own. It's an incredible story of family and love. And one woman's fight to destigmatize mental health and eating disorders, how powerlifting is helping her do just that in our series, Strong Women Inside and Out.
If you're eligible for
have
Medicare,
been linked to lower grades. Let's connect the dots. Research has shown that teenagers should get about 9 hours of sleep a night, but thanks to school and social demands, that doesn't always happen. The problem is even worse for teens with ADHD, who report lower quality sleep than their counterparts. In fact, doctors used to think sleep deprivation could be to blame for ADHD. Now a researcher at Cincinnati Children's Hospital has done a sleep study on students, half with ADHD, half without. 20% of the kids with ADHD got less than 7 hours of sleep on school nights. In the other group, that number was 10%. That lack of sleep was associated with lower test scores for both groups. So what can parents and teens do? Keep beds for sleep only. That helps train the brain to associate going to bed with going to sleep. Also keep a strict bedtime routine. That helps all teens, but especially kids with ADHD. The study's author even suggests teachers should keep an eye out for sleepy kids so they can alert parents there's a problem.
Welcome back to DBL. Today, meet Cynthia. She's a powerlifting mental health advocate whose story reminds us to never judge a book by its cover. That's today's edition of Strong Women Inside and Out.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Liu. During the day, I'm a technical recruiter at a major tech company, and at night, I'm a powerlifter and entrepreneur. Strong! But honestly, I spend most of my time trying to spread awareness around mental health and eating disorders because it's something that I struggle with myself. I was born and raised in the heart of Silicon Valley, and there was a lot of pressure growing up. My parents immigrated from Taiwan. I was a B student, but that was not good where I'm from. So many nights just sitting at the table with my dad, trying to get me to memorize things, and it just wouldn't go in because at that point we didn't know that I had ADHD. I wasn't doing very well mentally, and I also wasn't receiving the help that I needed as a teen. So unfortunately, in 2008, I tried to commit suicide. I am extremely grateful that I'm still here today, and quite honestly, that experience, it taught me a lot because I realized how much I hurt the people around me in that moment. And with that, I made a vow that I would stay alive no matter what, even if things, even if things got really bad again. As somebody who felt just so weak, I was really looking for something where I could feel strong. And so by, I guess, pure luck in a sense, I received a call from a Marine Corps recruiter. Within a few months, I had enlisted for the Marine Corps Reserves. But I do think that experience really made me feel like I could do anything that I set my mind to. So after I graduated from boot camp and was a Marine, I felt so proud of myself and I was so excited to go off to college. I actually failed a few classes. I felt like I was just failing yet again. Thought it was me, right? There must be a reason that these bad things are happening to me. I must be the problem. I started working out like crazy. I started doing cardio twice a day. Wasn't eating enough calories. After a while, when the weight loss stalled, I started lifting weights and going to the gym even more. And it got to a point where, oh, well, maybe I can let myself eat some more food. And unfortunately, it developed into bulimia. I hid all of myself from anybody that knew me. Anybody who looked at me thought that everything in my life was fine. I'm so used to being able to smile through, the different things happening in my life. One of my friends mentioned like, hey, you should do a powerlifting competition. And I had no idea what powerlifting was at this point. I started training for 3 months into my first powerlifting meet. And during that process of training into this competition, it was finally the point that I was able to repattern my brain to realize like, hey, this feeling of being full is not bad, because for a bulimic, that is like the most terrifying feeling of like feeling full, because you feel like you just have to get rid of it. I went to my competition and I did really, really well. At that point, I was in a junior division and there weren't very many girls competing, so I actually broke some records at that point, and I was just hooked. I never really looked back, because finally I had shifted going to the gym as something to change my physical appearance to going to the gym to be stronger, to be as strong as I possibly can. And I don't know if I would be here if I hadn't found powerlifting, and it felt really good to have something kind of ground me and make me realize that hard work does pay off. To me, being a strong woman inside and out means that I'm resilient. It means no matter what's thrown my way, I will persevere and I will get through it, because there's nothing stronger than knowing that you'll be okay.
Coming up on DBL, when a baby was abandoned in a New York subway 2 decades ago, 2 men stepped in and raised him as their own. They are sharing their beautiful story with us. Plus, Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker have us asking how much PDA is too much PDA. I have a feeling Jeff's going to have something to say about this. We'll be right back.
Promotional
Verify is all about fact-checking the suspicious things you see online and answering your questions. Several viewers emailed the team about this one, including John Selhorn from Potomac Falls, Virginia. He wants us to verify, is it true that the COVID-19 vaccines are only effective for 6 months? We brought that question to our experts, our 2 favorite Williams, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases professor at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, and Dr. William Moss, the executive director of the International Vaccine Access Center at Johns Hopkins. So what's up with this 6-month stat? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. Our experts explain that that's roughly how long it's been since those very first patients got a dose.
The clock is ticking. We're measuring it. We can't tell you any longer than that, because we've only used the vaccines for 6 months. So hold on. We all think that these vaccines last, given their protection, last longer than 6 months. But we'll tell you that as we continue to measure the duration of protection.
The other William agrees.
And that's why it's important, for example, that the phase 3 trial actually be allowed to continue, the initial phase 3 trial, the follow-up of those individuals out 2 or 3 years to look at the duration of protection. So I think whenever they say, like, the duration of protections, they'll say at least 3 months or at least 6 months, because basically that's just how much time we've had.
The CDC also says that at this point, they don't know how long protection lasts. So we could verify that no. Our experts say it's not that the COVID vaccines will only work for 6 months. What can be said is that they're effective for at least 6 months, because that's the data we have. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Tomorrow on DBL. She was abandoned as a baby decades ago. A former beauty queen shares her emotional reunion story with her birth mother 40 years later.
She confirmed I wasn't the worst thing that ever happened to her.
That's tomorrow, right here on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Okay, so in regard to Peloton, Nova says, thank God the child is okay. In my opinion, it's also the parents not watching the kids unplug the machine. Mary says they should put a back guard flap on that dang Peloton. I can't go anywhere in my house without my kids or dog following me. Hard to keep them away. And then for Sam, Robin says, congratulations on what sounds like a very successful vacation. Don't get it twisted. It was pretty tame. Okay, if you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. Chat with other viewers, leave your comments, and be a part of our DBL Nation. But if you are sticking around, here's what's coming up. Sharon Osbourne is speaking out against cancel culture and woke language. Plus, the ACM Awards are more diverse and inclusive than ever before. Is country music on a new track? And a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. We appreciate all of you. Look at you. Hey, 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 Aaron. DBL's new every day. Hey, Angelica. We'll be right back.
We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
So I'll cherish the Oregon cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will.
Wow, welcome to DBL. That is Carrie Underwood bringing down the house with CeCe Winans at the ACM Awards last night. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Miss Tori joins us from home. Let's get right to it. The Academy of Country Music Awards were held last night. While some artists did attend the event in person, Luke Bryan picked up his Entertainment of the Year award remotely. He was supposed to perform but had to back out because of COVID. Maren Morris picked up 2 awards, including Female Artist of the Year, and the event also made history. Mickey Gutton became the first black woman to co-host the awards with Keith Urban Osbourne. And Jimmy Allen, who performed with Brad Paisley, was the first black country singer to win Best New Artist at the ACMs. And the brothers Osbourne performed their new song called I'm Not For Everyone, which was significant because one of the brothers recently came out as gay. Erica used to work with country music. What do you make of more inclusion at this award show? I mean, this is a long time coming.
Oh, well, yeah. I think at this point we are having some serious conversations, everyone in institutions everywhere, about if we are not talking about representation and progressive and maybe even just acknowledging some wrongs that might need to be corrected, then we are going to be left behind. Mickey Guyton is, first of all, she is an incredible performer, but she's just so gorgeous. Yeah, she actually, her prominence, a lot of people know because she's a black female country artist who performed at the Grand Ole Opry, which wasn't the first. The first was Linda Martell in 1969.
Wow.
But Mickey really has kind of become a voice, especially during the social justice movement, because she talks about how everyone always acts like it's weird that she's there as a black woman. But really, when we talk about the foundation of country music, especially banjos, which actually came over from West Africa and was brought to America. And so there is a deep-rooted history that has context with Africans, blacks, and African Americans in country music. And she has really become a voice in a very social media world that people understand who she is, what she represents, and now we see her and celebrate her.
Amen. And you watched it. You enjoyed it.
I did. I watched half of it because there was too many commercials, and I was like, all right, we got to check out this Mark Wahlberg documentary. So I went to go and watch that.
Honesty.
But I did watch, yeah. I mean, Mickey Guyton did a great job. Keith Urban, I can't stand his hair. He did a fantastic job.
You can't stand his hair?
I just like,
it is a little 1994.
Dude, it's like a legendary hair. Like, if you just see a shadow of his hair, it should become a thing. Hey, that's Keith Urban. You know what I mean? Like, it's legendary.
Tori was chiming in about the hair, too, but go ahead.
I just want to say real fast, Tori, we'll get to you. Cece and Carrie Underwood killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it. I mean, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch that. You'll be blown away.
Amazing. And Tori, you're not a big fan of poor Keith Urban's hair either?
No, it's very girly from 1993, trying too hard. I never understood the Urban haircut. I will say this really quick, though. I think Lil Nas X being black and gay in the country world sort of exploded. I know it was a long time coming, but I think that people saw so many eyeballs, so many weeks on the charts, so many times it's top one, that they were missing out if they didn't include, like Erica said. So well done for being more inclusive. I like country music, and I think I can sing a great country song one day.
I say go for it.
Go for it, Tori.
When I'm hosting,
right
I feel the most in. Oh, is it not supposed to be now?
No, that's okay.
Yes, no, go
you
for it.
You said one
Go
day.
for it.
Erica just left the stage.
No, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
One day. I didn't know that meant
I thought it was hypothetical. I didn't realize she was going to bust it.
I knew for sure she was going to sing right
but she
now.
said one day.
Oh no. Let's get verse 2, Tori. Let's not end this. Come on.
I sometimes fight with Jeff, but you know it's all because of love.
You sometimes what with Jeff?
That was good. That was good.
What
Fight
with
with
Jeff?
Jeff. I sometimes fight with Jeff, but you know it's all because
girl, you need to enunciate.
She had like a share love at the end of it. That was good, Tori.
You did. That was pretty good.
Sharon Osbourne gave her first television interview since stepping away from the talk last month. Sharon was on Real Time with Bill Maher on Friday when she discussed her departure from the show after her heated exchange about race and free speech with her other co-hosts. Speaking to Bill Maher, Sharon said she did nothing wrong. Watch.
I'm angry. I'm hurt.
But you always were a strong one.
Oh, I'm a fighter. I've been called so many things in my life. I am so used to being called names, but a racist is one I will not take.
Sharon also addressed the alleged racial slurs she used against some of her former co-hosts, including Holly Robinson Peete. Sharon said they were just, quote, disgruntled employees. Holly's mom clapped back by tweeting that her daughter is not, quote, a disgruntled liar. She went on to say that Sharon called Holly, quote, ghetto many times and also engineered her firing. Wow. What do you make of Sharon going on Bill Maher and essentially playing the victim here?
Well, it seems very par for the course at this point. Also, we might want to mention Mama Dolores, Holly Robinson Pete's mother, went on to say that Sharon threatened to sue her on top of it. So I think that we have really seen something that has been emboldened for far too long, and that's the reason why she's so confused as to why people are turning on her now. Holly Robinson Pete has been in this game since the game was created, okay? She has been one of the least problematic people. Now, who has been quite a problem for quite some time? Sharon Osbourne. Now, the difference with Sharon Osbourne is that her problematic nature created a lot of money. So that's the reason why everybody was so quick to look the other way. Wow. Even when you see that clip of what happened that day, she is treating her co-host, who's supposed to be her friend, Cheryl Underwood, with the least respect possible, and also shut down her feelings during a conversation about social justice issues and with Black Americans. So how tone deaf would you have to be? And of course she's tone deaf. She's being paid millions of dollars to be super tone deaf, and it was cute when everybody was making money, but when sponsors started pulling, then it was a problem. So she goes on the show with Bill what's his face? Who's Mr. He's the one that, everyone always says that, you know, I have a thing for Black women. I don't really have a thing for Black women. It's just I have a thing for real women, and they happen to be Black. Well, how real could the relationship have been if you can't even see the humanity in them? That you would sit down with someone who was just disparaged, not one, but masses, in order to have a conversation and trivialize what happened? I got a problem with that. So we understand she's a fighter, but the question is, Sharon, what are you fighting for?
We're going to move on to the next story because Erica, wow. Okay, so Travis Barker isn't hiding his love for Kourtney Kardashian. He posted a birthday tribute to his boo on Instagram featuring several PDA-filled photos of the two getting lovey-dovey, although we couldn't show all the images because a few were a little too racy for TV. In the caption, he wrote, "You're a blessing to this world." And that's not all. Travis got Kourtney a massive floral arrangement, which included her favorite flowers. You can see some of the flowers were even hanging from the ceiling. Yeah, one of the videos was super graphic. Did you see the video?
Dude. No.
Dude, Tori, did you? Dude, tell us.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, I'm okay with PDA. I really like it. I really love it, and I thought it was too much because it was a little much.
His thumb.
Sucking on his thumb.
Tori, I really love it.
Oh, I'm not allowed to say that? Babies do it all the time.
Oh.
Okay, so now you know what happened, but it was really uncomfortable to watch on Instagram. What would you?
Let Tori finish her thought. Yeah. No.
Oh, because Tori loved it, but we only have okay, Tori. So you loved it. Finish your thought, and then Jeff.
No. I love PDA. I'm just saying I thought that was too much. I even thought it was gratuitous.
Yeah, I don't love it. And listen, I'm not trying to be a hater here. I love love. When you get spring break love like this and you're all over each other, that lasts for like 2 months. Get real. You know what I mean? You're taking these pictures. 2 months later, you're like kind of over it. You're like, whatever. So I don't think they're going to last too long.
Okay.
No.
So
holding hands is enough for me.
Did you ever go through a PDA moment with Jordan in the beginning?
Not like to film and stuff, you know what I mean? Or like at a restaurant. Come on.
Just lifting the shirt for the abs.
Listen, first of all, what do you do when you're at home? I was in my house. Yeah. That was my house for 3 months. So you relax, you take your shirt off on the couch. The Big Brother house was my house.
Okay.
What do you do at home?
Okay.
Hug your pillow in your leopard outfit?
Yeah, I do. Okay, coming up on DBL, forget the gym. Just slip into this muscle bodysuit. We're showing you some of the weirdest products you can actually buy. Plus, we're shining the spotlight on two dads who found an abandoned baby in the subway and raised him as their own, proving love is all you need. And our DBL staff working hard at home during the pandemic. When COVID is behind us, we can't wait to reunite with you all in the studio. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning.
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying, does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are our sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website, Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law, and Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the First Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court, and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verify.
Welcome back to DBL. Before gay marriage was legal, 2 men became fathers in the most unexpected way. One of them found a baby in the subway. And fast forward to today, their boy is now a young man in college. They spoke to Tori earlier in today's DBL Spotlight.
Your story is fascinating. You adopted and raised your son after finding him abandoned in the subway as a newborn. Danny, take me back to that day. What happened after you realized what you spotted in the subway was a baby in 2000?
You know, this was before cell phones, so I didn't have any way to notify the police or anything. So I had a quarter in my pocket. Actually, I had a couple of quarters. And so I went up to the payphone up on the street to call the police, and I just said, I found a baby. Well, they probably thought it was a prank call. I said, well, I need to let Pete know. If I call him and he calls, then they'll believe that this is real. So I called him and I blurted out, I found a baby. And as I was saying this and telling him where I was, that's when the police showed up and I just hung the phone up on him.
Okay, so Pete, you're on the other end of the line. You hear I found a baby that day. What did you think when he then hung up on you after saying that?
Well, he was late for dinner. We were supposed to have dinner, and he was late, so I thought he was going to tell me he was canceling or even going to be a little bit later. So when I heard him say what he said, I was like, what is going on? That was my first reaction. It was like everything happened so like millions of thoughts at once. Danny doesn't joke. He doesn't joke around. This must be serious.
Right.
So before he had a chance to hang up with me, I said, where are you? And he blurted out that he was at the 15th Street, 8th Avenue subway station in New York. It was quite a scene. And then we sort of went on with our lives. Yeah. You know, he was placed into the foster care system. And then 6 weeks later, Danny gets a call from an administration for children's services lawyer. Like you.
Yeah. And so they call me and say, we've been looking for you. And we are having a hearing to terminate the baby's parental rights. I go in there, I tell the story, you know, all the circumstances that led to me finding the baby. And then the judge says, can you stay here for the remainder of the hearing? And the next thing out of her mouth was, would you be interested in adopting this baby?
My gosh.
I paused for a second, and then I said, yes, but I don't think it's that easy. And she said, well, it can be.
Wow.
If you are interested and you say, yes, it can be.
Oh my God.
I didn't even realize what was happening. It was just like everything was spinning out of control in that moment.
I gotta be honest,
it was all a blur.
It's all a blur, but I gotta be honest, that's like a divine moment that you were there, they were there, you had that judge with that thought process and everything happened. That's divine. I gotta ask, let's talk about Kevin first off. What is it like for Kevin to learn about the day you found him? Do you guys talk about it? Are y'all open about it? Or do you kind of keep it in the past?
Oh, no. No, we've always been open about it because we knew this was such a public story.
Right.
That everyone around him in his life would know of the story. So we wanted to make sure he heard it from us. So from the earliest days when we would tell him bedtime stories, we would tell him about how we became a family. And as a couple of years later, we then put together Pete put together a very simple children's book of telling the story, but telling the story from the perspective of the train. So the trains are animated. And they told the story of like how we found each other.
I did want to know if you guys have found or had any attempts to find Kevin's birth parents, Danny. And I know that's kind of tricky. Does Kevin want to?
Well, that's a very good question. And early on, he was curious, and so we would tell him what we knew, which was not a lot.
Right.
And so he did have an interest in just knowing what she might have looked like.
Right.
And as time went on, he kind of let that go. But most recently, we've talked about this as he's known more about where exactly he's from, based on genetic DNA testing.
Sure.
And so we brought this up. We saw him recently, and we brought this up. Would you be interested in knowing more, meeting anyone? And he said, no, not right now. I've got too much going on. We let him know that it's okay. I mean, we would want him to be able to know. We wouldn't want to keep any of that from him, or for him to feel like he needs to, in any way, not be able to know that.
Well, tell Kevin I say hello. I just have to say, Danny and Pete, really such a lovely interview. Thank you so much for joining us, for being at that station, for being open to adoption, for the divine. All of that really just made my day, and I'm sure it'll make our viewers' day. Thank you again, and we'll be right back.
We all know that movement is like medicine, but getting the
It seems like teens never get enough sleep, but the problem can be even bigger for children with ADHD. Now those sleep troubles have been linked to lower grades. Let's connect the dots. Research has shown that teenagers should get about 9 hours of sleep a night, but thanks to school and social demands, that doesn't always happen. The problem is even worse for teens with ADHD, who report lower quality sleep than their counterparts. In fact, doctors used to think sleep deprivation could be to blame for ADHD. Now a researcher at Cincinnati Children's Hospital has done a sleep study on students, half with ADHD, half without. 20% of the kids with ADHD got less than 7 hours of sleep on school nights. In the other group, that number was 10%. That lack of sleep was associated with lower test scores for both groups. So what can parents and teens do? Keep beds for sleep only. That helps train the brain to associate going to bed with going to sleep. Also keep a strict bedtime routine. That helps all teens, but especially kids with ADHD. The study's author even suggests teachers should keep an eye out for sleepy kids so they can alert parents there's a problem.
Welcome back to DBL. If there's one thing tons of us can relate to is the amount of online shopping we've done over the last year. We found a couple standout items that some people might find wonderful or really, really weird. Take a look at this first one, which might be good for anyone who put on the COVID-19. It's a silicone body suit that can take you from dad bod to hot rod in an instant. Looks super real. So who needs a gym membership when you could simply toss on your faux muscles on your way to the all-you-can-eat buffet? What do you guys think about this one?
That's hilarious.
It looks real. Tori's into it. What do you think, Tori?
Creepy.
Tori, doesn't...
I mean, I think if you... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you're the only one who's going to get this joke, and it has no one out there is going to get it. But Arrested Development, remember when George Michael wears that suit underneath because he's doing the painting?
Yes.
It's me and only me and Tori. We love that show.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so would you
hilarious.
ever consider wearing
man.
this?
No, but you know who I could see?
go.
Anthony. I don't know why. I just feel like
Why
Anthony.
would you put that on my husband?
I feel like this is something he'd come out like and just pretend and just get a good laugh
And
out of.
Yeah, he would. He probably with like a Karate Kid, like what?
Yes.
Yeah, he would totally.
Bandana, full
Yeah.
for you. Tori, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
Oh no, I wear something called a squeam underneath my dress, and it's very tight and constricting like a garter. So I forgive anyone for trying to make their body look better because, hey, we're all trying to live this life. So go for it.
Girl, I told you to stop wearing that thing.
Yeah, you don't need your squeam.
You don't need it, and you're crushing your ribs. I'm sorry.
It's terrible. It is terrible. It's terrible.
All right, so these next products are available for anyone looking to personalize their final resting place with a bit of whimsy. These colorful and eccentric coffins are the creation of a man in New Zealand whose business, quote, Dying Art, makes custom coffins that look like a hot dog, boats, Legos, piano keys, and more. His aim is to bring something cheerful to the darkest of days. Erica, now your dad runs a funeral home. Would this be something that he'd bring into the mortuary?
My father does not, and I'm not even being funny about this, he does not do gimmicks. So if it's anything that even looks like it could be seen as disrespectful to someone, he does not do that.
Okay.
Now, on an interpersonal...
Yeah, what about Erica Cobb?
If it's just me, I thought you were talking about like me and my dad, like he'll say anything to me. But no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I'm not interested.
Okay, would you want a fun, fancy...
I'm not going out in a giant hot dog. No.
Tori, what about you, Tori?
Personally, the hot dog would be hilarious. Great laugh at the very end, the last laugh. But two, I kind of want to be a tree.
Oh, I love that idea. So you would want your ashes to be like the roots of the tree.
Yeah, I think you don't even need ashes. I think you can be buried as you become the tree.
Maybe. I think you still need to be in a coffin, but okay. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Verify is all about fact-checking the suspicious things you see online and answering your questions. Several viewers emailed the team about this one, including John Selhorn from Potomac Falls, Virginia. He wants us to verify, is it true that the COVID-19 vaccines are only effective for 6 months? We brought that question to our experts, our two favorite Williams, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases professor at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, and Dr. William Moss, the executive director of the International Vaccine Access Center at Johns Hopkins. So what's up with this 6-month stat? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. Our experts explain that that's roughly how long it's been since those very first patients got a dose.
The clock is ticking. We're measuring it. We can't tell you any longer than that because we've only used the vaccines for 6 months. So hold on. We all think that these vaccines last, given their protection, last longer than 6 months. But we'll tell you that as we continue to measure the duration of protection.
The other William agrees.
And that's why it's important, for example, that the phase 3 trial actually be allowed to continue, the initial phase 3 trial, the follow-up of those individuals out 2 or 3 years to look at the duration of protection. So I think whenever they say, like, you know, the duration of protections they'll say at least 3 months or at least 6 months, because basically that's just how much time we've had.
The CDC also says that at this point, they don't know how long protection lasts. So we could verify that no. Our experts say it's not that the COVID vaccines will only work for 6 months. What can be said is that they're effective for at least 6 months because that's the data we have. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. We have a lot of comments for Tori. People just absolutely amazed by her voice. We have Shanae L saying, oh my gosh, no, Tori's voice is so good. She easily could come up with another country song. We have Jack Ryan who says, please, Tori, we would love to hear you do one more country verse. Go, Tori.
I wrote some lyrics down. Here we go. If you know Daily Blast, we've got the best cast, and I'll tell you one thing for sure, we're built to last.
Yes. That's pretty good. Yeah. She sounded like Reba McEntire and Jodie Foster.
Are you serious right now? I love you,
run
Tori.
away from an audition. That's how I feel right now.
Goodbye to our coworkers. We'll see you guys all later. Bye, everyone.
You look like you're so mortified that you're just like.
Daily Blast Live.
A violent weekend with back-to-back shootings across the country as an investigation continues into the FedEx gunman. How was he able to legally buy assault rifles? Problems for Peloton with injuries adding up, why the company is fighting the safety warnings. A couple finds an abandoned baby in a subway station, changing their lives forever.
I didn't even realize what was happening. It was just like everything was spinning out of control in that moment.
talent, breaking barriers at the Academy of Country Music Awards.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, April 19th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Tori joins us from home. Let's get right to it because unfortunately we do have some pretty terrible news to report. As you know, there has been a great amount of gun violence over the weekend that we want to talk to you about. First in Austin, Texas, police have taken one man into custody this morning. He's a former sheriff's deputy. He was suspected of killing 3 people in a shooting rampage there yesterday, and that was just one of the many incidents over the weekend. Our hearts are going out to the other victims, including the 3 people shot and others wounded at a Wisconsin bar, another woman in Ohio that was killed at a vigil, and in Chicago, a 7-year-old girl, was killed and her father seriously injured at a McDonald's. We're also learning more about the 19-year-old man who killed 8 people at a FedEx facility last week. We are not going to show you his picture, which is our policy for mass shooters. Authorities say he legally purchased the 2 assault rifles used in the attack in July and September of last year. That's despite the fact that his family reported him to the authorities for potential violence in March, and he had a rifle taken from him at the time. This has led many people to question the back could be dangerous to not only themselves, but others. I'm already reading your comments. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
You know, we talked about this, unfortunately, on Friday, and I feel like we're going to continue to talk about this. But I read these numbers on Friday, but I want to make sure people know. A mass shooting is 4 or more people. Just that's the definition of it for whatever reason. 424 in 2019, 612 in 2020, and we're already at 147, probably up now because this was read on Friday. But how many deaths, how many shootings does it take for the government to step in and at least show us some sign? We have these red flag laws. They don't seem to be working. We shut down a whole country because of a certain amount of deaths. What is the number we put on gunshot victims to finally step in as a country and try to do something about this?
Well, I agree with you. Like, what is there a quantifiable point? And I really don't know if there is. I think that what a lot of times we have happen is that we never really triage situations as they come, you know, when we're talking about issues that affect us as a society. There was a meme that I saw over the weekend, and it was talking about you're really worried about Johnson & Johnson vaccine more than all of these in all different types of cities, all different populations, and all of them were mass shootings. And I think that we get so easily distracted. And I'm not saying that one isn't important, but I do think that if you go to an emergency room and they decide who needs to go first based on need, that means that it's an imminent situation. And I think that for some of these issues, we need to triage what is happening in this world.
Yeah, and Tori, we need to triage it together. Again, I know when we bring up gun violence, gun control, gun reform, all of a sudden there's 2 sides. There can't be 2 sides. As a parent, as a mother, I fear sending my child to school one day. I don't want to have that fear. I want my child to not have to live in a world where she doesn't have to go through those gun mass shooting drills in their school, right? So do you think there's a way, Tori, that we can still support the Second Amendment? I support the Second Amendment, but also have strict gun reform, which I also support?
Yes, and know that we've done it before. So when one person tried to blow up an airplane with their shoes, we all take our shoes off, right? In 1982, someone tried to poison Tylenol bottles. We now have safety caps. We know how to do things. We just have to get together on it. And the problem, Sam, that's really sad to me is that 90% of Americans agree with you, and that's Republicans and Democrats. That is unheard of for Americans to agree on background checks. Why they aren't being brought up as a bipartisan bill, this would be great for a young senator to bring up with someone across the aisle and say the red flag laws need to actually work. So it's a shame, but it's something the country can do. But right now we're baseball, American Pie, and mass shootings. That's what we're known for.
Wow. That's
Other
hard
countries
to hear.
have figured it out.
What's that?
Other countries have figured this out, right?
Yes.
But we
other
refuse to
countries
take
don't have the
Yeah,
history that we.
absolutely.
But other countries don't have the history that we do with guns, right?
Yeah. I
So
know.
this is a different, nuanced situation. But I believe that our country can figure it out. I believe in the minds of both Republicans and Democrats. Let's reach across the aisle. Let's think about our children, and let's stop politicizing everything, especially when it comes to all this gun violence. Come on, you guys, get it together. Okay, let's go on to the next story, shall we? Did you all see this warning for the popular Peloton treadmills? Federal safety regulators put out a stern warning for parents and small pet owners, saying to immediately stop using them after one child died and others were injured. They released video of one of the incidents where the kid is fine, and a warning to our viewers, it may be disturbing to see. The video shows a young child getting pulled underneath the treadmill while it was on. Oh my gosh. In this situation, the kid is okay. He got out from underneath it. Another video shows an exercise ball getting pulled underneath the treadmill while someone was on it running. Peloton has responded, calling the warning from the Safety Commission inaccurate and misleading. They say their product is safe to use as long as children and pets are kept away at all times. Erica.
Well, obviously, that is very frightening to watch. You don't want to see a child or an animal be in harm's way. But I do think that we do need to act, and also a child lost their life. So I do not want to be insensitive to that. I do think that it is important to exercise a certain degree of care and precaution when you have any type of exercise equipment in your home. That is just something that people should be doing anyway, because would you allow your child to be around your weight rack and pull a 20-pound weight onto them? So I understand that this is something very serious, but I think that if you're going to have exercise equipment in your home, you need to exercise extra care and precaution.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a company's fault unless it's a manufacturing error or something like that. And I don't think that's the case here that we have with Peloton. I promise you more people got hurt with those exercise balls than all those equipment put together, because people do stupid things on there, for sure. But I have an elliptical in my basement that we just got, and my kids come down in the morning, they're 2 and 4, to say goodbye to me if they go to school. And I'm like, hold on, guys. And I get off because there's swinging parts moving. I get off and give them a hug and a kiss by the door. And I'm like, this is Daddy's room. Don't go in here, right? So you have to have caution. Why are you laughing?
I'm a child. I'm an absolute
Why? What did
child.
I do? What happened?
The balls. No, it's Tori. It wasn't even that. It was swinging parts. Sorry. I'm an absolute kid, and Tori's a kid clearly
Monday morning?
as well. I know. I've been on vacation. My mind is completely just like.
Just about swinging parts? You must have had fun.
I did. We do have
Give
to
you some visuals of Mark.
Whoa, no. Okay, we do have to give a big DBL shout out to NASA for pulling off the first ever flight on another planet. The little helicopter named Ingenuity successfully took off earlier today. This video was taken by the Curiosity rover. Another picture from the helicopter shows its shadow on the red planet. Folks at NASA celebrated the historic first flight. Quite an accomplishment from 179 miles away, Tori.
This is incredible.
179
million miles away. One fact I can't get out of my head that I just think is so cool is that between the Wright brothers inventing flight in America and us going to the moon was only 66 years. And look at us now. We're flying on another planet.
Would any of you ever, because we talk, we know that there's technology that's going to soon, you can pay a certain amount of money and go to the moon or go to outer space. Would you want to do that? Never.
I don't know. I mean, I would like to say I did that, right? Yeah. What's cooler? What's cooler? I climb Mount Everest, or I walk in and be like, I went to the moon last year. That guy with the Everest has to leave the table.
Who cares about what you say? Do you want to actually do it?
No, well, I didn't want to jump out of an airplane, but I did it so I could say I did it. I'm never doing it again.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What about you, Erica?
No.
Never?
No.
Never.
Why? Sam, come on. I am I have to be in the epicenter of everything. You think I'm going to go to the moon? There ain't nothing up there.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't. What is there to do?
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is.
Would you go?
No, absolutely not. And let me tell you something, Jeff, the moon is not inside out. There isn't life on the inside of the moon. I just have to tell you that.
Maybe if we go there more, you could debunk that. But until then.
All right. Looks dark.
Coming up on DBL, diversity takes center stage at the ACM Awards. We're talking about the new, more inclusive country music genre. Plus, Sharon Osbourne is holding nothing back when it comes to cancel culture. And the Queen and her family pay tribute to Prince Philip, what you might have missed at his funeral over the weekend. Next.
Closed caption.
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying, does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law. And Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the first Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court, and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verify.
Welcome back to DBL. Prince Philip was laid to rest on Saturday in an intimate ceremony. Our Stephanie Jones joins us with a look at how the royal family paid their respects. Steph?
The royal family showed a united front by celebrating the life of Prince Philip. Due to the ongoing pandemic, there were only 30 people inside St. George's Chapel, meaning that the service was limited to immediate family only. Prince Harry and Prince William walked together behind the Prince Philip's coffin as it made its way to the chapel, and the Queen wore a black face mask and rode to the service separately in a car with her lady-in-waiting. She was married to the Duke of Edinburgh for 73 years. Once inside the chapel, the Queen sat alone, likely as a precaution because of COVID restrictions. And then after the service, we saw Harry and William spotted chatting and walking together, along with William's wife, Kate, which could signal a sign of a reconciliation between the brothers. Harry and William reportedly spent hours talking with each other behind closed doors after the funeral as well. And as for Meghan, we know that she stayed behind in California due to her pregnancy, but she reportedly sent a wreath of flowers and a handwritten note for the late prince. Back to you.
Thank you, Steph. Wow, just looking at that footage, you know, seeing Queen Elizabeth by herself, my heart breaks for her, even though Prince Philip led a very long life. But what did you think about seeing Prince Harry and Prince William somewhat, hopefully, reconciling?
I don't think that was a mistake that they just got caught on camera talking. I think that was definitely done as a signal. But I also think that again, this story is so much more relatable to the average person than we're really letting on, because funerals can either bring you together or make you farther apart. So I'm happy to see this. I mean, siblings fight.
Yeah, it might bring them together. You know, tragedy, funerals, they bring people together. So I would like to be a fly on that wall and hear what they were talking about.
I know. What do you think they were talking about?
I don't know, but family,
Yeah.
I could imagine.
I know. We can relate, all of us. Oh, Tori, I didn't know you were there.
Tori, you went to the royal wedding. Tori, what do you think they were talking about at the pub 80 miles away from where that happened?
Oh my
That is
God.
so inside, Jeff. That is so inside.
It's so
Nobody
not
understands
right.
that.
Maybe we'll send you back there and figure it out.
Coming up on DBL,
All right, I'll see you later.
We are talking to two dads who found an abandoned baby in the New York subway and raised him as their own. It's an incredible story of family and love. And one woman's fight to destigmatize mental health and eating disorders, how powerlifting is helping her do just that in our series, Strong Women Inside and Out.
It seems like teens never get enough sleep, but the problem can be even bigger for children with ADHD. Now those sleep troubles have been linked to lower grades. Let's connect the dots. Research has shown that teenagers should get about 9 hours of sleep a night, but thanks to school and social demands, that doesn't always happen. The problem is even worse for teens with ADHD, who report lower quality sleep than their counterparts. In fact, doctors used to think sleep deprivation could be to blame for ADHD. Now a researcher at Cincinnati Children's Hospital has done a sleep study on students, half with ADHD, half without. 20% of the kids with ADHD got less than 7 hours of sleep on school nights. In the other group, that number was 10%. That lack of sleep was associated with lower test scores for both groups. So what can parents and teens do? Keep beds for sleep only. That helps train the brain to associate going to bed with going to sleep. Also keep a strict bedtime routine. That helps all teens, but especially kids with ADHD. The study's author even suggests teachers should keep an eye out for sleepy kids so they can alert parents there's a problem.
Welcome back to DBL. Today, meet Cynthia. She's a powerlifting mental health advocate whose story reminds us to never judge a book by its cover. That's today's edition of Strong Women Inside and Out.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Liu. During the day, I'm a technical recruiter at a major tech company, and at night, I'm a powerlifter and entrepreneur. Strong! But honestly, I spend most of my time trying to spread awareness around mental health and eating disorders because it's something that I struggle with myself. I was born and raised in the heart of Silicon Valley, and there was a lot of pressure growing up. My parents immigrated from Taiwan. I was a B student, but that was not good where I'm from. So many nights just sitting at the table with my dad, trying to get me to memorize things, and it just wouldn't go in because at that point we didn't know that I had ADHD. I wasn't doing very well mentally, and I also wasn't receiving the help that I needed as a teen. So unfortunately, in 2008, I tried to commit suicide. I am extremely grateful that I'm still here today, and quite honestly, that experience, it taught me a lot because I realized how much I hurt the people around me in that moment. And with that, I made a vow that I would stay alive no matter what, even if things, even if things got really bad again. As somebody who felt just so weak, I was really looking for something where I could feel strong. And so by, I guess, pure luck in a sense, I received a call from a Marine Corps recruiter. Within a few months, I had enlisted for the Marine Corps Reserves. But I do think that experience really made me feel like I could do anything that I set my mind to. So after I graduated from boot camp and was a Marine, I felt so proud of myself and I was so excited to go off to college. I actually failed a few classes. I felt like I was just failing yet again. Thought it was me, right? There must be a reason that these bad things are happening to me. I must be the problem. I started working out like crazy. I started doing cardio twice a day, wasn't eating enough calories. After a while, when like the weight loss stalled, I started like lifting weights and, you know, going to the gym even more. And it got to a point where, oh, well, maybe I can let myself eat some more food. And unfortunately, it developed into bulimia. I hid all of myself from anybody that knew me. Anybody who looked at me thought that everything in my life was fine. I'm so used to being able to smile through, you know, the different things happening in my life. One of my friends mentioned like, hey, you should do a powerlifting competition. And I had no idea what powerlifting was at this point. I started training for 3 months into my first powerlifting meet. And during that process of training into this competition, it was finally the point that I was able to repattern my brain to realize like, hey, this feeling of being full is not bad, because for a bulimic, that is like the most terrifying feeling of like feeling full, because you feel like you just have to get rid of it. I went to my competition and I did really, really well. At that point, I was in a junior division and there weren't very many girls competing. So I actually broke some records at that point and I was just hooked. I never really looked back because finally I had shifted going to the gym as something to change my physical appearance to going to the gym to be stronger, to be as strong as I possibly can. And I don't know if I would be here if I hadn't found powerlifting, and it felt really good to have something kind of ground me and make me realize that hard work does pay off. To me, being a strong woman inside and out means that I'm resilient. It means no matter what's thrown my way, I will persevere and I will get through it, because there's nothing stronger than knowing that you'll be okay.
Coming up on DBL, when a baby was abandoned in a New York subway 2 decades ago, 2 men stepped in and raised him as their own. They are sharing their beautiful story with us. Plus, Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker have us asking how much PDA is too much PDA. I have a feeling Jeff's going to have something to say about this. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Verify is all about fact-checking the suspicious things you see online and answering your questions. Several viewers emailed the team about this one, including John Selhorn from Potomac Falls, Virginia. He wants us to verify. Is it true that the COVID-19 vaccines are only effective for 6 months? We brought that question to our experts, our 2 favorite Williams, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases professor at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, and Dr. William Moss, the executive director of the International Vaccine Access Center at Johns Hopkins. So what's up with this 6-month stat? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. Our experts explain that that's roughly how long it's been since those very first patients got a dose.
The clock is ticking. We're measuring it. We can't tell you any longer than that because we've only used the vaccines for 6 months. So hold on. We all think that these vaccines last, given their protection, last longer than 6 months. But we'll tell you that as we continue to measure the duration of protection.
The other William agrees.
And that's why it's important, for example, that the phase 3 trial actually be allowed to continue, the initial phase 3 trial, the follow-up of those individuals out 2 or 3 years to look at the duration of protection. So I think whenever they say, like, you know, the duration of protections they'll say at least 3 months or at least 6 months, because basically that's just how much time we've had.
The CDC also says that at this point, they don't know how long protection lasts. So we could verify that no. Our experts say it's not that the COVID vaccines will only work for 6 months. What can be said is that they're effective for at least 6 months because that's the data we have. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
DBL. She was abandoned as a baby decades ago. A former beauty queen shares her emotional reunion story with her birth mother 40 years later.
She confirmed I wasn't the worst thing that ever happened to her.
That's tomorrow, right here on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Okay, so in regard to Peloton, Nova says, thank God the child is okay. In my opinion, it's also the parents not watching the kids unplug the machine. Mary says they should put a back guard flap on that dang Peloton. I can't go anywhere in my house without my kids or dog following me. Hard to keep them away. And then for Sam, Robin says, congratulations on what sounds like a very successful vacation. Don't get it twisted. It was pretty tame. Okay, if you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. Chat with other viewers, leave your comments, and be a part of our DBL Nation. But if you are sticking around, here's what's coming up. Sharon Osbourne is speaking out against cancel culture and woke language. Plus, the ACM Awards are more diverse and inclusive than ever before. Is country music on a new track? And a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. We appreciate all of you. Look at you. Hey, 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 Aaron. DBL is new every day. Hey, Angelica. We'll be right back.
On Daily Blast Live.
A violent weekend with back-to-back shootings across the country as an investigation continues into the FedEx gunman. How was he able to legally buy assault rifles?
Tweeting that her daughter is not, quote, a disgruntled liar. She went on to say that Sharon called Holly, quote, ghetto many times and also engineered her firing. Wow. What do you make of Sharon going on Bill Maher and essentially playing the victim here?
Well, it seems very par for the course at this point. Also, we might want to mention Mama Dolores, Holly Robinson Pete's mother, went on to say that Sharon threatened to sue her on top of it. So I think that we have really seen something that has been emboldened for far too long, and that's the reason why she's so confused as to why people are turning on her now. Holly Robinson Pete has been in this game since the game was created, okay? She has been one of the least problematic people. Now, who has been quite a problem for quite some time? Sharon Osbourne. Now, the difference with Sharon Osbourne is that her problematic nature created a lot of money. So that's the reason why everybody was so quick to look the other way. Wow. Even when you see that clip of what happened that day, she is treating her co-host, who's supposed to be her friend, Cheryl Underwood, with the least respect possible, and also shut down her feelings during a conversation about social justice issues and with Black Americans. So how tone deaf would you have to be? And of course she's tone deaf. She's being paid millions of dollars to be super tone deaf, and it was cute when everybody was making money, but when sponsors started pulling, then it was a problem. So she goes on the show with Bill what's his face? Who's Mr. He's the one that everyone always says that, you know, I have a thing for Black women. I don't really have a thing for Black women. It's just I have a thing for real women, and they happen to be Black. Well, how real could the relationship have been if you can't even see the humanity in them? That you would sit down with someone who was just disparaged, not one, but masses, in order to have a conversation and trivialize what happened? I got a problem with that. So we understand she's a fighter, but the question is, Sharon, what are you fighting for?
We're going to move on to the next story because Erica, wow. Okay, so Travis Barker isn't hiding his love for Kourtney Kardashian. He posted a birthday tribute to his boo on Instagram featuring several PDA-filled photos of the two getting lovey-dovey, although we couldn't show all the images because a few were a little too racy for TV. In the caption, he wrote, "You're a blessing to this world." And that's not all. Travis got Kourtney a massive floral arrangement, which included her favorite flowers. You can see some of the flowers were even hanging from the ceiling. Yeah, one of the videos was super graphic. Did you see the video?
Dude.
No.
Dude, Tori, did you? Dude, tell us.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, I'm okay with PDA. I really like it. I really love it, and I thought it was too much because it was
She was
a little
sucking
much.
His thumb.
Sucking on his
Tori,
thumb.
I really love it.
Oh, I'm not allowed to say that? Babies do it all the time.
Oh.
Okay, so now you know what happened, but it was really uncomfortable to watch on Instagram. What would
let Tori finish her thought. Yeah, and then
because Tori loved it. But we only have okay, Tori, so you loved it. Finish your thought, and then Jeff.
No, I love PDA. I'm just saying I thought that was too much. I even thought it was gratuitous.
Yeah, I don't love it. And listen, I'm not trying to be a hater here. I love love. When you get spring break love like this and you're all over each other, that lasts for like 2 months. Get real. You know what I mean? You're taking these pictures. 2 months later, you're like kind of over it. You're like, whatever. So I don't think they're going to last too long.
Okay.
No.
So
holding hands is enough for me.
Did you ever go through a PDA moment with Jordan in the beginning?
Not like to film and stuff, you know what I mean? Or like at a restaurant. Come on.
Just lifting the shirt for the abs.
Listen, first of all, what do you do when you're at home? I was in my house. Yeah. That was my house for 3 months. So you relax, you take your shirt off on the couch. The Big Brother house was my house.
Okay.
What do you do at home?
Okay.
Hug your pillow in your leopard outfit?
Yeah, I do. Okay, coming up on DBL, forget the gym. Just slip into this muscle bodysuit. We're showing you some of the weirdest products you can actually buy. Plus, we're shining the spotlight on two dads who found an abandoned baby in the subway and raised him as their own, proving love is all you need. And our DBL staff working hard at home during the pandemic. When COVID is behind us, we can't wait to reunite with you all in the studio. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
Cell phone repair.
Did you know Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need? Just get a quote at libertymutual.com.
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying, does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are our sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law. And Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the First Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court, and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verify.
Welcome back to DBL. Before gay marriage was legal, 2 men became fathers in the most unexpected way. One of them found a baby in the subway. And fast forward to today, their boy is now a young man in college. They spoke to Tori earlier in today's DBL Spotlight.
Your story is fascinating. You adopted and raised your son after finding him abandoned in the subway as a newborn. Danny, take me back to that day. What happened after you realized what you spotted in the subway was a baby in 2000?
You know, this was before cell phones, so I didn't have any way to notify the police or anything. So I had a quarter in my pocket. Actually, I had a couple of quarters. And so I went up to the payphone up on the street to call the police, and I just said, I found a baby. Well, they probably thought it was a prank call. I said, well, I need to let Pete know. If I call him and he calls, then they'll believe that this is real. So I called him and I blurted out, I found a baby. And as I was saying this and telling him where I was, that's when the police showed up and I just hung the phone up on him.
Okay, so Pete, you're on the other end of the line. You hear, I found a baby. That day, what did you think when he then hung up on you after saying that?
Well, he was late for dinner. We were supposed to have dinner, and he was late, so I thought he was going to tell me he was canceling or even going to be a little bit later. So when I heard him say what he said, I was like, what is going on? That was my first reaction. It was like everything happened, so like millions of thoughts at once. Danny doesn't joke. He doesn't joke around. This must be serious.
Right.
So before he had a chance to hang up with me, I said, where are you? And he blurted out that he was at the 15th Street, 8th Avenue subway station in New York. It was quite a scene. And then we sort of went on with our lives. Yeah. You know, he was placed into the foster care system. And then 6 weeks later, Danny gets a call from an administration for children's services lawyer. Like you.
Yeah. And so they call me and say, we've been looking for you. And we are having a hearing to terminate the baby's parental rights. I go in there, I tell the story, all the circumstances that led to me finding the baby. And then the judge says, can you stay here for the remainder of the hearing? And the next thing out of her mouth was, would you be interested in adopting this baby?
Oh my gosh.
I paused for a second, and then I said, yes, but I don't think it's that easy. And she said, well, it can be.
Wow.
If you are interested and you say yes, it can be.
Oh my God.
I didn't even realize what was happening. It was just like everything was spinning out of control in that moment.
I gotta be honest, it's
all a blur.
It's all a blur, but I gotta be honest, that's like a divine moment that you were there, they were there, you had that judge with that thought process and everything happened. That's divine. I gotta ask, let's talk about Kevin first off. What is it like for Kevin to learn about the day you found him? Do you guys talk about it? Are y'all open about it, or do you kind of keep it in the past?
Oh, no.
No, we've always been open about it because we knew this was such a public story.
Right.
That everyone around him in his life would know of the story. So we wanted to make sure he heard it from us. So from the earliest days when we would tell him bedtime stories, we would tell him about how we became a family. And as a couple of years later, we then put together Pete put together a very simple children's book of telling the story, but telling the story from the perspective of the train. So the trains are animated. And they tell the story of like how we found each other.
I did want to know if you guys have found or had any attempts to find Kevin's birth parents, Danny. And I know that's kind of tricky. Does Kevin want to?
Well, that's a very good question. And early on, he was curious, and so we would tell him what we knew, which was not a lot.
Right.
And so he did have an interest in just knowing what she might have looked like.
Right.
And as time went on, he kind of let that go. But most recently, we've talked about this as he's known more about where exactly he's from, based on genetic DNA testing.
Sure.
And so we brought this up. We saw him recently, and we brought this up. Would you be interested in knowing more, meeting anyone? And he said, no, not right now. I've got too much going on. We let him know that it's okay. I mean, we would want him to be able to know. We wouldn't want to keep any of that from him, or for him to feel like he needs to, in any way, not be able to know that.
Well, tell Kevin I say hello. I just have to say, Danny and Pete, really such a lovely interview. Thank you so much for joining us, for being at that station, for being open to adoption, for the divine. All of that really just made my day, and I'm sure it'll make our viewers' day. Thank you again, and we'll be right back.
We all know that movement is like medicine, but getting the movement you need to feel better can be a challenge. Now you can keep fit while you sit with QB, the world's leading compact seat.
It seems like teens never get enough sleep, but the problem can be even bigger for children with ADHD. Now those sleep troubles have been linked to lower grades. Let's connect the dots. Research has shown that teenagers should get about 9 hours of sleep a night, but thanks to school and social demands, that doesn't always happen. The problem is even worse for teens with ADHD, who report lower quality sleep than their counterparts. In fact, doctors used to think sleep deprivation could be to blame for ADHD. Now a researcher at Cincinnati Children's Hospital has done a sleep study on students, half with ADHD, half without. 20% of the kids with ADHD got less than 7 hours of sleep on school nights. In the other group, that number was 10%. That lack of sleep was associated with lower test scores for both groups. So what can parents and teens do? Keep beds for sleep only. That helps train the brain to associate going to bed with going to sleep. Also keep a strict bedtime routine. That helps all teens, but especially kids with ADHD. The study's author even suggests teachers should keep an eye out for sleepy kids so they can alert parents there's a problem.
Welcome back to DBL. If there's one thing tons of us can relate to is the amount of online shopping we've done over the last year. We found a couple standout items that some people might find wonderful or really, really weird. Take a look at this first one, which might be good for anyone who put on the COVID-19. It's a silicone body suit that can take you from dad bod to hot rod in an instant. Looks super real. So who needs a gym membership when you could simply toss on your faux muscles on your way to the all-you-can-eat buffet? What do you guys think about this one?
That's hilarious.
It looks real. Tori's into it. What do you think, Tori?
Creepy.
Tori, doesn't...
I mean, I think if you... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you're the only one who's going to get this joke, and it has no one out there is going to get it. But Arrested Development, remember when George Michael wears that suit underneath because he's doing the painting?
Yes.
It's me and only me and Tori. We love
And
that
it's
show.
like huge.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
hilarious.
would you ever consider wearing
man.
this?
No, but you know who I could see?
okay.
Anthony. I don't know why. I just feel like Anthony.
Why would you
Anthony.
put that on my husband?
I feel like this is something he'd come out like and just pretend and just get a good laugh
And
out of.
Oh, yeah, he would. He probably, with like a Karate Kid, like what?
Yes.
Yeah, he would totally.
Bandana, full
Yeah.
for you. Tori, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
Oh no, I wear something called a squeam underneath my dress, and it's very tight and constricting like a garter. So I forgive anyone for trying to make their body look better because, hey, we're all trying to live this life. So go for it.
Girl, I told you to stop wearing that thing.
Yeah, you don't need your squeam.
You don't need it, and you're crushing your ribs. I'm sorry.
It's terrible. It is terrible. It's terrible.
All right, so these next products are available for anyone looking to personalize their final resting place with a bit of whimsy. These colorful and eccentric coffins are the creation of a man in New Zealand whose business, quote, Dying Art, makes custom coffins that look like a hot dog, boats, Legos, piano keys, and more. His aim is to bring something cheerful to the darkest of days. Erica, now your dad runs a funeral home. Would this be something that he'd bring into the mortuary?
My father does not, and I'm not even being funny about this, he does not do gimmicks.
Oh.
So if it's anything that even looks like it
Roosevelt.
could be seen as disrespectful to someone, he does not do that.
Okay.
Now, on an interpersonal...
Yeah, what about Erica Cobb?
If it's just me, I thought you were talking about like me and my dad, like he'll say anything to me. But no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
Okay, would you want a fun,
No,
fancy?
I'm not going out in a giant hot dog. No.
Tori, what about you, Tori?
Personally, the hot dog would be hilarious. Great laugh at the very end, the last laugh. But two, I kind of want to be a tree.
Oh, I love that idea. So you would want your ashes to be like the roots of the tree.
Yeah, I think you don't even need ashes. I think you can be buried as you become the tree.
Maybe. I think you still need to be in a coffin, but okay. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is...
Verify is all about fact-checking the suspicious things you see online and answering your questions. Several viewers emailed the team about this one, including John Selhorn from Potomac Falls, Virginia. He wants us to verify, is it true that the COVID-19 vaccines are only effective for 6 months? We brought that question to our experts, our two favorite Williams, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases professor at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, and Dr. William Moss, the executive director of the International Vaccine Access Center at Johns Hopkins. So what's up with this 6-month stat? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. Our experts explain that that's roughly how long it's been since those very first patients got a dose.
The clock is ticking. We're measuring it. We can't tell you any longer than that because we've only used the vaccines for 6 months. So hold on. We all think that these vaccines last, given their protection, last longer than 6 months. But we'll tell you that as we continue to measure the duration of protection.
The other William agrees.
And that's why it's important, for example, that the phase 3 trial actually be allowed to continue, the initial phase 3 trial, the follow-up of those individuals out 2 or 3 years to look at the duration of protection. So I think whenever they say, like, you know, the duration of protections, they'll say at least 3 months or at least 6 months, because basically that's just how much time we've had.
The CDC also says that at this point, they don't know how long protection lasts. So we could verify that no. Our experts say it's not that the COVID vaccines will only work for 6 months. What can be said is that they're effective for at least 6 months because that's the data we have. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
To DBL, we love sharing your comments. We have a lot of comments for Tori. People just absolutely amazed by her voice. We have Shanae L saying, oh my gosh, no, Tori's voice is so good. She easily could come up with another country song. We have Jack Ryan who says, please, Tori, we would love to hear you do one more country verse. Go, Tori.
I wrote some lyrics down. Here we go. If you know Daily Blast, we've got the best cast, and I'll tell you one thing for sure, we're built to last.
Yes. That's pretty good. Yeah. She sounded like Reba McEntire and Jodie Foster.
Are you serious right now? I love you,
run
Tori.
away from an audition. That's how I feel right now.
A quick goodbye to our coworkers. We'll see you guys all later. Bye, everyone.
You look so mortified that you're just like.
Weekend with back-to-back shootings across the country as an investigation continues into the FedEx gunman. How was he able to legally buy assault rifles? Problems for Peloton with injuries adding up, why the company is fighting the safety warnings. A couple finds an abandoned baby in a subway station, changing their lives forever.
I didn't even realize what was happening. It was just like everything was spinning out of control in that moment.
And breaking barriers at the Academy of Country Music Awards.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, April 19th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Tori joins us from home. Let's get right to it because unfortunately we do have some pretty terrible news to report. As you know, there has been a great amount of gun violence over the weekend that we want to talk to you about. First, in Austin, Texas, police have taken one man into custody this morning. He's a former sheriff's deputy. He was suspected of killing 3 people in a shooting rampage there yesterday, and that was just one of the many incidents over the weekend. Our hearts are going out to the other victims, including the 3 people shot and others wounded at a Wisconsin bar, another woman in Ohio that was killed at a vigil, and in Chicago, a 7-year-old girl, was killed and her father seriously injured at a McDonald's. We're also learning more about the 19-year-old man who killed 8 people at a FedEx facility last week. We are not going to show you his picture, which is our policy for mass shooters. Authorities say he legally purchased the 2 assault rifles used in the attack in July and September of last year. That's despite the fact that his family reported him to the authorities for potential violence in March, and he had a rifle taken from him at the time. This has led many people to question the background checks and red flag laws that are supposed to prevent firearm sales to people who could be dangerous to not only themselves, but others. I'm already reading your comments. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
You know, we talked about this, unfortunately, on Friday, and I feel like we're going to continue to talk about this. But I read these numbers on Friday, but I want to make sure people know. A mass shooting is 4 or more people. Just that's the definition of it for whatever reason. 424 in 2019, 612 in 2020, and we're already at 147, probably up now because this was read on Friday. But how many deaths, how many shootings does it take for the government to step in and at least show us some sign? We have these red flag laws. They don't seem to be working. We shut down a whole country because of a certain amount of deaths. What is the number we put on gunshot victims to finally step in as a country and try to do something about this?
Well, I agree with you. Like, what is there a quantifiable point? And I really don't know if there is. I think that what a lot of times we have happen is that we never really triage situations as they come, you know, when we're talking about issues that affect us as a society. There was a meme that I saw over the weekend, and it was talking about you're really worried about Johnson & Johnson vaccine more than all of these in all different types of cities, all different populations, and all of them were mass shootings. And I think that we get so easily distracted. And I'm not saying that one isn't important, but I do think that if you go to an emergency room and they decide who needs to go first based on need, that means that it's an imminent situation. And I think that for some of these issues, we need to triage what is happening in this world.
Yeah, and Tori, we need to triage it together. Again, I know when we bring up gun violence, gun control, gun reform, all of a sudden there's 2 sides. There can't be 2 sides. As a parent, as a mother, I fear sending my child to school one day. I don't want to have that fear. I want my child to not have to live in a world where she doesn't have to go through those gun mass shooting drills in their school, right? So do you think there's a way, Tori, that we can still support the Second Amendment? I support the Second Amendment, but also have strict gun reform, which I also support?
Yes, and know that we've done it before. So when one person tried to blow up an airplane with their shoes, we all take our shoes off, right? In 1982, someone tried to poison Tylenol bottles. We now have safety caps. We know how to do things. We just have to get together on it. And the problem, Sam, that's really sad to me is that 90% of Americans agree with you, and that's Republicans and Democrats. That is unheard of for Americans to agree on background checks. Why they aren't being brought up as a bipartisan bill, this would be great for a young senator to bring up with someone across the aisle and say the red flag laws need to actually work. So it's a shame, but it's something the country can do. But right now we're baseball, American Pie, and mass shootings. That's what we're known for.
Wow. That's
Other
hard
countries
to hear.
have figured it out.
What's that?
Other countries have figured this out, right?
Yes.
But we
other
refuse to
countries
take
don't
it.
have the history
absolutely.
but other countries don't have the history that we do with guns, right?
Yeah.
So this is a different nuanced situation, but I believe that our country can figure it out. I believe in the minds of both Republicans and Democrats. Let's reach across the aisle. Let's think about our children, and let's stop politicizing everything, especially when it comes to all this gun violence. Come on, you guys, get it together. Okay, let's go on to the next story, shall we? Did you all see this warning for the popular Peloton treadmills? Federal safety regulators put out a stern warning for parents and small pet owners, saying to immediately stop using them after one child died and others were injured. They released video of one of the incidents where the kid is fine, and a warning to our viewers, it may be disturbing to see. The video shows a young child getting pulled underneath the treadmill while it was on. Oh my gosh. In this situation, the kid is okay. He got out from underneath it. Another video shows an exercise ball getting pulled underneath the treadmill while someone was on it running. Peloton has responded, calling the warning from the Safety Commission inaccurate and misleading. They say their product is safe to use as long as children and pets are kept away at all times. Erica.
Well, obviously that is very frightening to watch. You don't want to see a child or an animal be in harm's way. But I do think that we do need to act, and also a child lost their life. So I do not want to be insensitive to that. I do think that it is important to exercise a certain degree of care and precaution when you have any type of exercise equipment in your home. That is just something that people should be doing anyway, because would you allow your child to be around your weight rack and pull a 20-pound weight onto them? So I understand that this is something very serious, but I think that if you're going to have exercise equipment in your home, you need to exercise extra care and precaution.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a company's fault unless it's a manufacturing error or something like that. And I don't think that's the case here that we have with Peloton. I promise you more people got hurt with those exercise balls than all those equipment put together, because people do stupid things on there, for sure. But I have an elliptical in my basement that we just got, and my kids come down in the morning, they're 2 and 4, to say goodbye to me if they go to school. And I'm like, hold on, guys. And I get off because there's swinging parts moving. I get off and give them a hug and a kiss by the door. And I'm like, this is Daddy's room. Don't go in here, right? So you have to have caution. Why are you laughing?
I'm a child. I'm an absolute
Why? What did
child.
I do? What happened?
The balls.
No, it's Tori. It wasn't even that. It was swinging parts. Sorry. I'm an absolute kid, and Tori is a kid clearly
Monday morning?
as well. I know. I've been on vacation. My mind is completely just like.
Just about swinging parts? You must have had fun.
I did. We do have
Give
to
you some visuals of Mark.
Whoa, no. Okay, we do have to give a big DBL shout out to NASA for pulling off the first ever flight on another planet. The little helicopter named Ingenuity successfully took off earlier today. This video was taken by the Curiosity rover. Another picture from the helicopter shows its shadow on the red planet. Folks at NASA celebrated the historic first flight. Quite an accomplishment from 179 miles away, Tori.
This is incredible.
179
million miles away. One fact I can't get out of my head that I just think is so cool is that between the Wright brothers inventing flight in America and us going to the moon was only 66 years. And look at us now. We're flying on another planet.
Would any of you ever, because we talk, we know that there's technology that's going to soon, you can pay a certain amount of money and go to the moon or go to outer space. Would you want to do that? Never.
I don't know. I mean, I would like to say I did that, right? Yeah. What's cooler? I climb Mount Everest, or I walk in and be like, I went to the moon last year. That guy with the Everest has to leave the table.
Who cares about what you say? Do you want to actually do it?
No, well, I didn't want to jump out of an airplane, but I did it so I could say I did it. I'm never doing it again.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What about you, Erica?
No.
Never?
No.
Never.
Why? Sam, come on. I am I have to be in the epicenter of everything. You think I'm going to go to the moon? There ain't nothing up there.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't. What is there to do?
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is.
Would you go?
No, absolutely not. And let me tell you something, Jeff, the moon is not inside out. There isn't life on the inside of the moon. I just have to tell you that.
Maybe if we go there more, you could debunk that. But until then.
All right.
Looks dark.
Coming up on DBL, diversity takes center stage at the ACM Awards. We're talking about the new, more inclusive country music genre. Plus, Sharon Osbourne is holding nothing back when it comes to cancel culture. And the Queen and her family pay tribute to Prince Philip, what you might have missed at his funeral over the weekend. Next.
Closed captioning provided by
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying, does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are our sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law. And Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the First Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court, and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verify.
Welcome back to DBL. Prince Philip was laid to rest on Saturday in an intimate ceremony. Our Stephanie Jones joins us with a look at how the royal family paid their respects. Steph?
The royal family showed a united front by celebrating the life of Prince Philip. Due to the ongoing pandemic, there were only 30 people inside St. George's Chapel, meaning that the service was limited to immediate family only. Prince Harry and Prince William walked together behind the Prince Philip's coffin as it made its way to the chapel, and the Queen wore a black face mask and rode to the service separately in a car with her lady-in-waiting. She was married to the Duke of Edinburgh for 73 years. Once inside the chapel, the Queen sat alone, likely as a precaution because of COVID restrictions. And then after the service, we saw Harry and William spotted chatting and walking together, along with William's wife, Kate, which could signal a sign of a reconciliation between the brothers. Harry and William reportedly spent hours talking with each other behind closed doors after the funeral as well. And as for Meghan, we know that she stayed behind in California due to her pregnancy, but she reportedly sent a wreath of flowers and a handwritten note for the late prince. Back to you.
Thank you, Steph. Wow, just looking at that footage, seeing Queen Elizabeth by herself, my heart breaks for her, even though Prince Philip led a very long life. But what did you think about seeing Prince Harry and Prince William somewhat, hopefully, reconciling?
I don't think that was a mistake that they just got caught on camera talking. I think that was definitely done as a signal. But I also think that again, this story is so much more relatable to the average person than we're really letting on, because funerals can either bring you together or make you farther apart. So I'm happy to see this. I mean, siblings fight.
Yeah, it might bring them together. You know, tragedy, funerals, they bring people together. So I would like to be a fly on that wall and hear what they were talking about.
I know. What do you think they were talking about?
I don't know, but family, I could imagine.
I know. We can relate, all of us. Oh, Tori, I didn't know you were there.
Tori, you went to the royal wedding. Tori, what do you think they were talking about at the pub 80 miles away from where that happened?
Oh my God. That is so inside, Jeff. That is so inside.
It's so
Nobody
not
understands
right.
that.
Maybe we'll send you back there and figure it out.
Coming up on DBL.
All right, I'll see you later.
We are talking to two dads who found an abandoned baby in the New York subway and raised him as their own. It's an incredible story of family and love. And one woman's fight to destigmatize mental health and eating disorders, how powerlifting is helping her do just that in our series, Strong Women Inside and Out.
It seems like teens never get enough sleep, but the problem can be even bigger for children with ADHD. Now those sleep troubles have been linked to lower grades. Let's connect the dots. Research has shown that teenagers should get about 9 hours of sleep a night, but thanks to school and social demands, that doesn't always happen. The problem is even worse for teens with ADHD, who report lower quality sleep than their counterparts. In fact, doctors used to think sleep deprivation could be to blame for ADHD. Now a researcher at Cincinnati Children's Hospital has done a sleep study on students, half with ADHD, half without. 20% of the kids with ADHD got less than 7 hours of sleep on school nights. In the other group, that number was 10%. That lack of sleep was associated with lower test scores for both groups. So what can parents and teens do? Keep beds for sleep only. That helps train the brain to associate going to bed with going to sleep. Also keep a strict bedtime routine. That helps all teens, but especially kids with ADHD. The study's author even suggests teachers should keep an eye out for sleepy kids so they can alert parents there's a problem.
Welcome back to DBL. Today, meet Cynthia. She's a powerlifting mental health advocate whose story reminds us to never judge a book by its cover. That's today's edition of Strong Women Inside and Out.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Liu. During the day, I'm a technical recruiter at a major tech company, and at night, I'm a powerlifter and entrepreneur. Strong! But honestly, I spend most of my time trying to spread awareness around mental health and eating disorders because it's something that I struggle with myself. I was born and raised in the heart of Silicon Valley, and there was a lot of pressure growing up. My parents immigrated from Taiwan. I was a B student, but that was not good where I'm from. So many nights just sitting at the table with my dad, trying to get me to memorize things, and it just wouldn't go in because at that point we didn't know that I had ADHD. I wasn't doing very well mentally, and I also wasn't receiving the help that I needed as a teen. So unfortunately, in 2008, I tried to commit suicide. I am extremely grateful that I'm still here today, and quite honestly, that experience, it taught me a lot because I realized how much I hurt the people around me in that moment. And with that, I made a vow that I would stay alive no matter what, even if things, even if things got really bad again. As somebody who felt just so weak, I was really looking for something where I could feel strong. And so by, I guess, pure luck in a sense, I received a call from a Marine Corps recruiter. Within a few months, I had enlisted for the Marine Corps Reserves. But I do think that experience really made me feel like I could do anything that I set my mind to. So after I graduated from boot camp and was a Marine, I felt so proud of myself and I was so excited to go off to college. I actually failed a few classes. I felt like I was just failing yet again. Thought it was me, right? There must be a reason that these bad things are happening to me. I must be the problem. I started working out like crazy. I started doing cardio twice a day. Wasn't eating enough calories. After a while, when like the weight loss stalled, I started like lifting weights and, you know, going to the gym even more. And it got to a point where, oh, well, maybe I can let myself eat some more food. And unfortunately, it developed into bulimia. I hid all of myself from anybody that knew me. Anybody who looked at me thought that everything in my life was fine. I'm so used to being able to smile through, you know, the different things happening in my life. One of my friends mentioned like, hey, you should do a powerlifting competition. And I had no idea what powerlifting was at this point. I started training for 3 months into my first powerlifting meet. And during that process of training into this competition, it was finally the point that I was able to repattern my brain to realize like, hey, this feeling of being full is not bad, because for a bulimic, that is like the most terrifying feeling of like feeling full, because you feel like you just have to get rid of it. I went to my competition and I did really, really well. At that point, I was in a junior division and there weren't very many girls competing. So I actually broke some records at that point and I was just hooked. I never really looked back because finally I had shifted going to the gym as something to change my physical appearance to going to the gym to be stronger, to be as strong as I possibly can. And I don't know if I would be here if I hadn't found powerlifting. And it felt really good to have something kind of ground me and make me realize that hard work does pay off. To me, being a strong woman inside and out means that I'm resilient. It means no matter what's thrown my way, I will persevere and I will get through it, because there's nothing stronger than knowing that you'll be okay.
Coming up on DBL, when a baby was abandoned in a New York subway 2 decades ago, 2 men stepped in and raised him as their own. They are sharing their beautiful story with us. Plus, Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker have us asking how much PDA is too much PDA. I have a feeling Jeff's going to have something to say about this. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Verify is all about fact-checking the suspicious things you see online and answering your questions. Several viewers emailed the team about this one, including John Selhorn from Potomac Falls, Virginia. He wants us to verify, is it true that the COVID-19 vaccines are only effective for 6 months? We brought that question to our experts, our 2 favorite Williams, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases professor at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, and Dr. William Moss, the executive director of the International Vaccine Access Center at Johns Hopkins. So what's up with this 6-month stat? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. Our experts explain that that's roughly how long it's been since those very first patients got a dose.
The clock is ticking. We're measuring it. We can't tell you any longer than that because we've only used the vaccines for 6 months. So hold on. We all think that these vaccines last, given their protection, last longer than 6 months. But we'll tell you that as we continue to measure the duration of protection.
The other William agrees.
And that's why it's important, for example, that the phase 3 trial actually be allowed to continue, the initial phase 3 trial, the follow-up of those individuals out 2 or 3 years to look at the duration of protection. So I think whenever they say, like, you know, the duration of protections they'll say at least 3 months or at least 6 months, because basically that's just how much time we've had.
The CDC also says that at this point, they don't know how long protection lasts. So we could verify that no. Our experts say it's not that the COVID vaccines will only work for 6 months. What can be said is that they're effective for at least 6 months because that's the data we have. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
Tomorrow on DBL. She was abandoned as a baby decades ago. A former beauty queen shares her emotional reunion story with her birth mother 40 years later.
She confirmed I wasn't the worst thing that ever happened to her.
That's tomorrow, right here on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Okay, so in regard to Peloton, Nova says, thank God the child is okay. In my opinion, it's also the parents not watching the kids unplug the machine. Mary says they should put a back guard flap on that dang Peloton. I can't go anywhere in my house without my kids or dog following me. Hard to keep them away. And then for Sam, Robin says, congratulations on what sounds like a very successful vacation. Don't get it twisted. It was pretty tame. Okay, if you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. Chat with other viewers, leave your comments, and be a part of our DBL Nation. But if you are sticking around, here's what's coming up. Sharon Osbourne is speaking out against cancel culture and woke language. Plus, the ACM Awards are more diverse and inclusive than ever before. Is country music on a new track? And a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. We appreciate all of you. Look at you. Hey, 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 Aaron. DBL is new every day. Hey, Angelica. We'll be right back.
Is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
So I'll cherish the Oregon cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will.
Wow, welcome to DBL. That is Carrie Underwood bringing down the house with CeCe Winans at the ACM Awards last night. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Miss Tori joins us from home. Let's get right to it. The Academy of Country Music Awards were held last night. While some artists did attend the event in person, Luke Bryan picked up his Entertainment of the Year award remotely. He was supposed to perform but had to back out because of COVID. Maren Morris picked up 2 awards, including Female Artist of the Year, and the event also made history. Mickey Guyton became the first black woman to co-host the awards with Keith Urban. And Jimmy Allen, who performed with Brad Paisley, was the first black country singer to win Best New Artist at the ACMs. And the brothers Osbourne performed their new song called I'm Not For Everyone, which was significant because one of the brothers recently came out as gay. Erica used to work with country music. What do you make of more inclusion at this award show? I mean, this is a long time coming.
Oh, well, yeah. I think at this point we are having some serious conversations, everyone in institutions everywhere, about if we are not talking about representation and progressive and maybe even just acknowledging some wrongs that might need to be corrected, then we are going to be left behind. Mickey Guyton is, first of all, she is an incredible performer, but she's just so gorgeous. Yeah, she actually, her prominence, a lot of people know because she's a black female country artist who performed at the Grand Ole Opry, which wasn't the first. The first was Linda Martell in 1969.
Wow.
But Mickey really has kind of become a voice, especially during the social justice movement, because she talks about how everyone always acts like it's weird that she's there as a black woman. But really, when we talk about the foundation of country music, especially banjos, which actually came over from West Africa and was brought to America, and so there is a deep-rooted history that has context with Africans, blacks, and African Americans in country music. And she has really become a voice in a very social media world that people understand who she is, what she represents, and now we see her and celebrate her.
Amen. And you watched it. You enjoyed it.
I did. I watched half of it because there was too many commercials, and I was like, all right, we got to check out this Mark Wahlberg documentary. So I went to go watch that. But I did watch, I mean, Mickey Guyton did a great job. Keith Urban, I can't stand his hair. He did a fantastic job.
You can't stand his hair?
I just like,
it is a little 1994.
Dude, it's like a legendary hair. Like, if you just see a shadow of his hair, it should become a thing. Hey, that's Keith Urban. You know what I mean? Like, it's legendary.
Tori was chiming in about the hair, too, but go ahead.
I just want to say real fast, Tori, we'll get to you. CeCe and Carrie Underwood killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it. I mean, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch that. You'll be blown away.
Amazing. And Tori, you're not a big fan of poor Keith Urban's hair either?
No, it's very girly from 1993, trying too hard. I never understood the Urban haircut. I will say this really quick, though. I think Lil Nas X being black and gay in the country world sort of exploded. I know it was a long time coming, but I think that people saw so many eyeballs, so many weeks on the charts, so many times it's top 1 that they were missing out if they didn't include, like Erica said. So well done for being more inclusive. I like country music, and I think I can sing a great country song one day.
I say go for it.
Go for it, Tori.
When I'm hosting, I feel the most in. Oh, is it not supposed to be now?
No, that's okay.
Yes, no, go for it.
You said one
Go
day.
for it.
Erica just left the stage.
No, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
One day. I didn't know that meant
I thought it was hypothetical. I didn't realize she was going to bust it.
I knew for sure she was going to sing right
but
now.
She said one day.
Oh, no. Let's get verse 2, Tori. Let's not end this. Come on.
I sometimes fight with Jeff, but you know it's all because of love.
You sometimes what with Jeff?
That was good. That was good.
What
Fight
with
with
Jeff?
Jeff. I sometimes fight with Jeff, but you know it's all because
girl,
of
you need to enunciate.
She had like a share love at the end of it. That was good, Tori.
You did. That was pretty good.
Sharon Osbourne gave her first television interview since stepping away from the talk last month. Sharon was on Real Time with Bill Maher on Friday when she discussed her departure from the show after her heated exchange about race and free speech with her other co-hosts. Speaking to Bill Maher, Sharon said she did nothing wrong. Watch.
I'm angry. I'm hurt.
But you always were a strong one.
Oh, I'm a
That's-
fighter. I've been called so many things in my life. I am so used to being called names, but a racist is one I will not take.
Sharon also addressed the alleged racial slurs she used against some of her former co-hosts, including Holly Robinson Peete. Sharon said they were just, quote, disgruntled employees. Holly's mom clapped back by tweeting that her daughter is not, quote, a disgruntled liar. She went on to say that Sharon called Holly, quote, ghetto many times and also engineered her firing. Wow. What do you make of Sharon going on Bill Maher and essentially playing the victim here?
Well, it seems very par for the course at this point. Also, we might want to mention Mama Dolores, Holly Robinson Pete's mother, went on to say that Sharon threatened to sue her on top of it. So I think that we have really seen something that has been emboldened for far too long, and that's the reason why she's so confused as to why people are turning on her now. Holly Robinson Peete has been in this game since the game was created, okay? She has been one of the least problematic people. Now, who has been quite a problem for quite some time? Sharon Osbourne. Now, the difference with Sharon Osbourne is that her problematic nature created a lot of money. So that's the reason why everybody was so quick to look the other way. Wow. Even when you see that clip of what happened that day, she is treating her co-host, who's supposed to be her friend, Cheryl Underwood, with the least respect possible, and also shut down her feelings during a conversation about social justice issues and with Black Americans. So how tone deaf would you have to be? And of course she's tone deaf. She's being paid millions of dollars to be super tone deaf, and it was cute when everybody was making money, but when sponsors started pulling, then it was a problem. So she goes on the show with Bill what's his face? Who's Mr. He's the one that, everyone always says that, you know, I have a thing for Black women. I don't really have a thing for Black women. It's just I have a thing for real women, and they happen to be Black. Well, how real could the relationship have been if you can't even see the humanity in them? That you would sit down with someone who was just disparaged, not one, but masses, in order to have a conversation and trivialize what happened? I got a problem with that. So we understand she's a fighter, but the question is, Sharon, what are you fighting for?
We're going to move on to the next story because Erica, wow. Okay, so Travis Barker isn't hiding his love for Kourtney Kardashian. He posted a birthday tribute to his boo on Instagram featuring several PDA-filled photos of the two getting lovey-dovey, although we couldn't show all the images because a few were a little too racy for TV. In the caption, he wrote, "You're a blessing to this world." And that's not all. Travis got Kourtney a massive floral arrangement, which included her favorite flowers. You can see some of the flowers were even hanging from the ceiling. Yeah, one of the videos was super graphic. Did you see the video?
Dude. No.
Dude, Tori, did you? Dude, tell us.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, I'm okay with PDA. I really like it. I really love it, and I thought it was too much because it was,
she was
a little
sucking
much.
His thumb.
Sucking on his
Tori,
thumb.
I really love it.
Oh, I'm not allowed to say that? Babies do it all the time.
Oh.
Okay, so now you know what happened, but it was really uncomfortable to watch on Instagram. What would you?
Let Tori finish her thought. Yeah. And then
because Tori loved it, but we only have okay, Tori. So you loved it. Finish your thought, and then Jeff.
No. I love PDA. I'm just saying I thought that was too much. I even thought it was gratuitous.
Yeah, I don't love it. And listen, I'm not trying to be a hater here. I love love. When you get spring break love like this and you're all over each other, that lasts for like 2 months. Get real. You know what I mean? You're taking these pictures. 2 months later, you're like kind of over it. You're like, whatever. So I don't think they're going to last too long.
Okay.
No.
So
holding hands is enough for me.
Did you ever go through a PDA moment with Jordan in the beginning?
Not like to film and stuff, you know what I mean? Or like at a restaurant. Come on.
Just lifting the shirt for the abs.
Listen, first of all, what do you do when you're at home? I was in my house. That was my house for 3 months. So you relax, you take your shirt off on the couch. The Big Brother house was my house.
Okay.
What do you do at home?
Okay.
Hug your pillow in your leopard outfit?
Yeah, I do. Okay, coming up on DBL, forget the gym. Just slip into this muscle bodysuit. We're showing you some of the weirdest products you can actually buy. Plus, we're shining the spotlight on two dads who found an abandoned baby in the subway and raised him as their own, proving love is all you need. And our DBL staff working hard at home during the pandemic. When COVID is behind us, we can't wait to reunite with you all in the studio. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
After months of speculation, it's official. Democrats unveiled a plan to add 4 new justices to the Supreme Court. And look, there's a lot of speculation online. So here in the Verify team, we're going to take the politics out of it and just focus on the facts. So we're verifying, does the Constitution allow the number of Supreme Court justices to be changed? Here are our sources. Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution. This FAQ page from the Supreme Court website. Adam Levitin from Georgetown Law. And Paul Schiff-Berman from GW Law. Let's start with the Constitution, which reads in part, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and that the judges, quote, shall hold their offices during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't limit the amount of justices.
The Constitution has nothing to say about the number of justices, and indeed the number has changed. There's nothing magic about the number 9.
In fact, there were some big fluctuations in early American history. In 1789, the First Judiciary Act set the number of justices to 6. During the Civil War, it got up to 10. In 1869, Congress settled on 9 justices. And in the more than 150 years since then, presidents have tried but failed to change that number.
Most famously, Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the number of justices on the court, and there was backlash to that.
So we could verify that yes, the Constitution does allow the number of justices to be changed. You just need an act of Congress and a signature from the president, something that hasn't been done in more than 150 years. Here at the Supreme Court, this is Evan Kozloff with your Verify.
Welcome back to DBL. Before gay marriage was legal, 2 men became fathers in the most unexpected way. One of them found a baby in the subway. And fast forward to today, their boy is now a young man in college. They spoke to Tori earlier in today's DBL Spotlight.
Your story is fascinating. You adopted and raised your son after finding him abandoned in the subway as a newborn. Danny, take me back to that day. What happened after you realized what you spotted in the subway was a baby in 2000?
You know, this was before cell phones, so I didn't have any way to notify the police or anything. So I had a quarter in my pocket. Actually, I had a couple of quarters. And so I went up to the payphone up on the street to call the police, and I just said, I found a baby. Well, they probably thought it was a prank call. I said, well, I need to let Pete know. If I call him and he calls, then they'll believe that this is real. So I called him and I blurted out, I found a baby. And as I was saying this and telling him where I was, that's when the police showed up and I just hung the phone up on him.
Okay, so Pete, you're on the other end of the line. You hear, I found a baby. That day, what did you think when he then hung up on you after saying that?
Well, he was late for dinner. We were supposed to have dinner, and he was late, so I thought he was going to tell me he was canceling or even going to be a little bit later. So when I heard him say what he said, I was like, what is going on? That was my first reaction. It was like everything happened so like millions of thoughts at once. Danny doesn't joke. He doesn't joke around. This must be serious.
Right.
So before he had a chance to hang up with me, I said, where are you? And he blurted out that he was at the 15th Street, 8th Avenue subway station in New York. It was quite a scene. And then we sort of went on with our lives.
Yeah.
You know, he was placed into the foster care system. And then 6 weeks later, Danny gets a call from an administration for children's services lawyer. Like you.
Yeah. And so they call me and say, we've been looking for you, and we are having a hearing to terminate the baby's parental rights. I go in there, I tell the story, you know, all the circumstances that led to me finding the baby. And then the judge says, can you stay here for the remainder of the hearing? And the next thing out of her mouth was, would you be interested in adopting this baby?
My gosh.
I paused for a second, and then I said, yes, but I don't think it's that easy. And she said, well, it can be.
Wow.
If you are interested and you say yes, it can be.
Oh my God.
I didn't even realize what was happening. It was just like everything was spinning out of control in that moment.
I gotta be honest,
it is all a blur.
It's all a blur, but I gotta be honest, that's like a divine moment that you were there, they were there, you had that judge with that thought process and everything happened. That's divine. I gotta ask, let's talk about Kevin first off. What is it like for Kevin to learn about the day you found him? Do you guys talk about it? Are y'all open about it? Or do you kind of keep it in the past?
Oh, no.
No, we've always been open about it because we knew this was such a public story.
Right.
That everyone around him in his life would know of the story. So we wanted to make sure he heard it from us. So from the earliest days when we would tell him bedtime stories, we would tell him about how we became a family. And as you know, a couple of years later, we then put together Pete put together a very simple children's book of telling the story, but telling the story from the perspective of the trains. So the trains are animated. And they tell the story like how we found each other.
I did want to know if you guys have found or had any attempts to find Kevin's birth parents, Danny. And I know that's kind of tricky. Does Kevin want to?
Well, that's a very good question. And you know, early on, he was curious, and so we would tell him what we knew, which was not a lot.
Right.
And so he did have an interest in like just knowing what she might have looked like.
Right.
And as time went on, he kind of like let that go. But most recently, we've talked about this as he's known more about like, you know, where exactly he's from, based on genetic DNA testing.
Sure.
And so we brought this up. We saw him recently, and we brought this up. Would you be interested in, you know, knowing more, you know, meeting anyone? And he said, no, not right now. I've got too much going on. You know, we let him know that it's okay. I mean, we would want him to be able to know. We wouldn't want to keep any of that from him, or for him to feel like he needs to, in any way, not be able to know that.
Well, tell Kevin I say hello. I just have to say, Danny and Pete, really such a lovely interview. Thank you so much for joining us, for being at that station, for being open to adoption, for the divine. All of that really just made my day, and I'm sure it'll make our viewers' day. Thank you again, and we'll be right back.
We all know that movement is like medicine.
It seems like teens never get enough sleep, but the problem can be even bigger for children with ADHD. Now those sleep troubles have been linked to lower grades. Let's connect the dots. Research has shown that teenagers should get about 9 hours of sleep a night, but thanks to school and social demands, that doesn't always happen. The problem is even worse for teens with ADHD, who report lower quality sleep than their counterparts. In fact, doctors used to think sleep deprivation could be to blame for ADHD. Now a researcher at Cincinnati Children's Hospital has done a sleep study on students, half with ADHD, half without. 20% of the kids with ADHD got less than 7 hours of sleep on school nights. In the other group, that number was 10%. That lack of sleep was associated with lower test scores for both groups. So what can parents and teens do? Keep beds for sleep only. That helps train the brain to associate going to bed with going to sleep. Also keep a strict bedtime routine. That helps all teens, but especially kids with ADHD. The study's author even suggests teachers should keep an eye out for sleepy kids so they can alert parents there's a problem.
Welcome back to DBL. If there's one thing tons of us can relate to is the amount of online shopping we've done over the last year. We found a couple standout items that some people might find wonderful or really, really weird. Take a look at this first one, which might be good for anyone who put on the COVID-19. It's a silicone body suit that can take you from dad bod to hot rod in an instant. Looks super real. So who needs a gym membership when you could simply toss on your faux muscles on your way to the all-you-can-eat buffet? What do you guys think about this one?
That's hilarious.
It looks real. Tori's into it. What do you think, Tori?
Creepy.
Tori, doesn't...
I mean, I think if you... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you're the only one who's going to get this joke, and it has no one out there is going to get it. But Arrested Development, remember when George Michael wears that suit underneath because he's doing the painting?
Yes.
It's me and only me and Tori. We love that show.
Yeah.
Oh,
so would you ever consider wearing this?
No, but you know who I could see?
okay.
Anthony. I don't know why. I just feel like Anthony.
Would you put that on my husband?
I feel like this is something he'd come out like and just pretend and just get a good laugh out of.
Yeah, he would. He probably with like a Karate Kid, like what?
Yes.
Yeah, he would totally.
Yeah. Tori, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
Oh no, I wear something called a squeam underneath my dress, and it's very tight and constricting like a garter. So I forgive anyone for trying to make their body look better because, hey, we're all trying to live this life. So go for it.
Girl, I told you to stop wearing that thing.
Yeah, you don't need your squeam.
I don't need it, and you're crushing your ribs. I'm sorry.
It's terrible. It is terrible. It's terrible.
All right, so these next products are available for anyone looking to personalize their final resting place with a bit of whimsy. These colorful and eccentric coffins are the creation of a man in New Zealand whose business, quote, Dying Art, makes custom coffins that look like a hot dog, boats, Legos, piano keys, and more. His aim is to bring something cheerful to the darkest of days. Erica, now your dad runs a funeral home. Would this be something that he'd bring into the mortuary?
My father does not, and I'm not even being funny about this, he does not do gimmicks.
Oh.
So if it's anything that even looks like
Roosevelt.
it could be seen as disrespectful to someone, he does not do that.
Okay.
Now, on an interpersonal...
Yeah, what about Erica Cobb?
If it's just me, I thought you were talking about like me and my dad, like he'll say anything to me. But no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
Okay, would you want a fun, fancy...
I'm not going out in a giant hot dog. No.
Tori, what about you, Tori?
Personally, the hot dog would be hilarious. Great laugh at the very end, the last laugh. But two, I kind of want to be a tree.
Oh, I love that idea. So you would want your ashes to be like the roots of the tree.
Yeah, I think you don't even need ashes. I think you can be buried as you become the tree.
Maybe. I think you still need to be in a coffin, but okay. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Verify is all about fact-checking the suspicious things you see online and answering your questions. Several viewers emailed the team about this one, including John Selhorn from Potomac Falls, Virginia. He wants us to verify, is it true that the COVID-19 vaccines are only effective for 6 months? We brought that question to our experts, our two favorite Williams, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases professor at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, and Dr. William Moss, the executive director of the International Vaccine Access Center at Johns Hopkins. So what's up with this 6-month stat? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. Our experts explain that that's roughly how long it's been since those very first patients got a dose.
The clock is ticking. We're measuring it. We can't tell you any longer than that because we've only used the vaccines for 6 months. So hold on. We all think that these vaccines last, given their protection, last longer than 6 months. But we'll tell you that as we continue to measure the duration of protection.
The other William agrees.
And that's why it's important, for example, that the phase 3 trial actually be allowed to continue, the initial phase 3 trial, the follow-up of those individuals out 2 or 3 years to look at the duration of protection. So I think whenever they say, like, you know, the duration of protections they'll say at least 3 months or at least 6 months, because basically that's just how much time we've had.
The CDC also says that at this point, they don't know how long protection lasts. So we could verify that no. Our experts say it's not that the COVID vaccines will only work for 6 months. What can be said is that they're effective for at least 6 months because that's the data we have. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. We have a lot of comments for Tori. People just absolutely amazed by her voice. We have Shanae L saying, oh my gosh, no, Tori's voice is so good. She easily could come up with another country song. We have Jack Ryan who says, please, Tori, we would love to hear you do one more country verse. Go, Tori.
I wrote some lyrics down. Here we go. If you know Daily Blast, we've got the best cast. And I'll tell you one thing for sure, we're built to last.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. She sounded like Reba McEntire and Jodie Foster.
Are you serious right now? I love you,
run away
Tori.
from an audition. That's how I feel right now.
Goodbye to our coworkers. We'll see you guys all later. Bye, everyone.
You look like so mortified that you're just like.